Chapter 2333, The crowd was shocked. They did not expect Lu Ming to really challenge a great emperor. Furthermore, he was taking the initiative. A true emperor fighting a great emperor, this was enough to shock the world. Bang! The middle-aged man took a step forward and stepped into the light shield, standing opposite Lu Ming. Who do you think will win, Lu Ming or Lan Mo? Outside, some people started to discuss in low voices. I think Lan Mo will win for sure. Although Lu Ming's combat strength is strong and he could easily kill a level 18 true emperor 5 years ago, the difference between a true emperor and a great emperor is too great. I've never heard of a true emperor fighting a great emperor. Even the strongest true emperor is no match for the weakest great emperor, that's right. Lu Ming is definitely not his match. I'm guessing that Lu Ming will be defeated within 20 moves. 20 moves? If Lu Ming has not made much progress in the past 5 years, I don't think he can even withstand 10 moves. Many people were discussing, but no one thought that Lu Ming could fight against the great emperor. The gap between them was too big. Blue membrane? It seems that you are from the Lan family. Lu Ming said indifferently, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. No wonder he was ridiculed by Lan Mo the moment he appeared here. It turned out that he was from the Lan family. That's right, Lu Ming. You're really arrogant. Although I can't kill you here, no one will say anything if I abuse you. Lan Mo said maliciously. Oh, really? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then let me see what you, the number 1 heaven's pride in the heaven realm, have. Lan Mo said coldly. Then, with a loud boom, Lan Mo's figure charged towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. He threw a punch at Lu Ming with the force of Mount Tai. At this moment, Lu Ming squinted his eyes. The power of his physical body and the power of the world burst out. Buzz! Lu Ming struck out with his palm. There were 6 types of lusters on his palm, which contained 6 types of laws. Chaos laws, death laws, devouring laws, smithing laws, array laws, and pill laws. This was a sacred art. Lu Ming had obtained the advanced version of the ancient chaos scripture. It recorded many supernormal abilities and contained many types of laws. One of the palm techniques contained 9 types of nomological laws. It was an evolved version of the chaos divine palm. However, Lu Ming had only cultivated 4 of the 9 types of laws. Over the years, Lu Ming had made improvements to them by integrating the death law and other laws into them. It had become Lu Ming's unique divine power, and its power was even more shocking. Lu Ming was casting this kind of divine power. Boom! Lu Ming's palm and Lan Mo's fist collided with a deafening boom. A terrifying force shot out in all directions from the collision of their palms and fists. It hit the light shield but was blocked. Bang! Bang! Their bodies trembled and they both took a dozen steps back. The ground they stepped on exploded. What? Everyone's eyes widened in shock. In the first move, Lu Ming managed to block the blue membrane's attack. The 2 of them were evenly matched. How was this possible? Lan Mo hasn't used his full strength yet. He's just testing the waters. A great emperor spoke. A great emperor was actually forced back by a true emperor. This was extremely embarrassing. Even the other great emperors felt ashamed. Within the light barrier, the blue membrane was furious. He had actually been forced back by a true emperor. A great emperor being forced back by a true emperor had never happened before. Lu Ming, you've successfully angered me. Kill! Lan Mo roared and pounced toward Lu Ming like a cannonball. He kept punching with both fists. Before his fists even reached Lu Ming, a terrifying pressure was already pressing down on him. That was the pressure of the Great Tao. Great emperors could control great Taos and borrow the power of great Taos to become shockingly powerful. The great Tao was a profound meaning that was even stronger than laws. It was extremely powerful. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He waved his palm to meet the attack. This time, there was one more law in Lu Ming's palm. There were 7 types of laws. Bang! Bang! The two of them clashed continuously, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. It was still difficult to determine the winner. The power of a great Tao is indeed amazing. In the middle of the battle, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Lu Ming's current divine power contained 7 types of laws. However, under the bombardment of the other party's great Tao, it was in imminent danger. It felt as if it was going to be penetrated and torn apart. If not for the fact that Lu Ming's physical strength was extremely strong and made up for this deficiency, he might not be able to fight against the other party. The two of them fought with speed, constantly colliding with each other. The terrifying force bombarded the light shield, causing it to shake violently. Damn it! Lan Mo roared angrily. He had made so many moves but he could not take down Lu Ming. He felt that he had lost face. If he could not defeat Lu Ming today, he would definitely become a laughingstock among the great emperors. On the contrary, he had helped Lu Ming achieve his goal and raised his reputation. Roar! Suddenly, Lan Mo's body let out a deafening roar, and a giant lion appeared above his head. This was a golden lion with golden fur that shone with life. It was extraordinarily majestic. This wasn't a real lion, but a divine art formed from the great Tao. This lion was covered by the blue membrane, and the blue membrane was in the center of the lion, as if it had transformed into a golden lion. Roar! The golden lion roared and pounced at Lu Ming. "You've finally used your ultimate move?" Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. At this moment, 9 different radiances emanated from Lu Ming's palm. He used all 9 types of laws. The power of this divine power technique was not any weaker than the infinite dragon spear. It was most suitable for close combat. Buzz! Lu Ming's figure also rushed out. He struck out with his palm and the void was shattered, revealing a dark void. His palm seemed to pass through space and struck out. As for Lan Mo, he waved a lion's claw and clawed at Lu Ming. Bang! The two of them collided once again. This time, the boom was even more intense, and a terrifying force was triggered. However, the result was that the two of them were still evenly matched, and they were forced to retreat. Impossible! Lan Mo roared in disbelief. He had already used all his strength, but he could not take down Lu Ming. He was shocked. He roared in anger and charged at Lu Ming. The two of them fought fiercely. The people watching the battle outside the light barrier were equally stunned and shocked. Oh my God, Lu Ming can actually fight against Lan Mo and not be at a disadvantage at all. This is too terrifying. He's only a true emperor, but he's this strong. How is this possible? What's going on? He's also a true emperor, but the other true emperors can't even withstand a single blow from him. Many people couldn't believe it. A true emperor couldn't be a match for a great emperor. This was the truth. But now, the truth had been broken. As a true emperor, Lu Ming's cultivation base was no weaker than a great emperor's. Abnormal. As expected, he was an abnormal being who had become a saint emperor with many laws. He could not be measured with common sense. In the end, everyone could only comfort themselves like this. Chapter 2334. In the blink of an eye, the two exchanged dozens of moves, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. The great emperor is indeed extraordinary. The great Tao that Lan Mo comprehended should only be an ordinary great Tao, but it's so powerful. One wonder how powerful the strongest great Tao is? Lu Ming's mind was filled with all kinds of thoughts. There were two types of great Taos. In the true emperor realm, those who had not comprehended an ultimate law and only evolved a great Tao from a king Tao law and ordinary laws were ordinary great Taos. As for those who comprehended the ultimate laws, they were great Taos evolved from one type of ultimate law and all the other king Tao laws. They were called the ultimate great Tao. Among those of the same level, the strongest great Tao was much more powerful than ordinary great Taos. Lan Mo had only comprehended an ordinary great Tao and was a one-star great emperor. He was definitely considered weak among great emperors. If it was a one-star great emperor who had comprehended the strongest great Tao, Lu Ming would most likely be hard-pressed to defeat him. Then let's change our strategy. There was a flash in Lu Ming's eyes. He suddenly changed his offensive to a full-force attack, completely disregarding defense. This was a desperate fight. Lu Ming's attack changed and increased sharply, suppressing the blue film in an instant. Damn it, you don't care about defense. You think I'm afraid of you? Kill! Lan Mo roared. He also gave up on defense and attacked with all his might. Normally, when people fought against each other, they would reserve some of their strength for defense. Now that they were going all out to attack, both of them were instantly hit. Bang! Bang! Lan Mo's punch landed on Lu Ming's shoulder, and Lu Ming's palm also hit Lan Mo's shoulder. The two of them trembled and retreated. The difference was that there was a dent on Lu Ming's shoulder. However, not a single drop of blood flowed out. The wound was healing rapidly. As for Lan Mo, he was in a much worse state. It was as if his shoulder had been cut by a battle blade, almost chopping off one of his arms. A deep wound was revealed, and blood was flowing out. Even his bones had been shattered. Lan Mo's face was slightly pale. Although the great emperor's recovery ability was also extremely shocking, it could not be compared to Lu Ming's. Kill! Lu Ming did not give the blue membrane any time to recover and launched another attack. Lan Mo was injured and it was almost impossible for him to move one of his arms. His combat strength was greatly reduced and he was at a complete disadvantage. He was no match for Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! Following that, Lan Mo was hit continuously by Lu Ming and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Although he managed to hit Lu Ming was not seriously injured and his combat strength was not affected. Indestructible ancient scroll. Lan Mo roared, extremely unwilling. He knew that Lu Ming had used the indestructible ancient scroll and was not afraid of being injured. Bang! Lu Ming seized the opportunity and landed a palm on Lan Mo's face. Lan Mo screamed and his body was sent flying. Blood mixed with his teeth flew out and he hit the light shield. Lan Mo's brain was buzzing, he was completely stunned. Lu Ming would not let go of such an opportunity. He rushed over and punched and kicked Lan Mo's face and body. The blue membrane was like a sandbag. It was instantly bombarded by Lu Ming with dozens of moves. After a few dozen moves, the blue membrane flew out and fell to the ground. It was covered in blood and twitched non-stop. Hiss! Hiss! Gasps of shock could be heard. Outside the light barrier, whether it was the Void Emperor, the True Emperor, or the Great Emperor, all of them were so shocked that their mouths were wide open. A Great Emperor had been defeated by a young True Emperor. Furthermore, he had lost so badly. He had been madly abused. He had been abused so badly that even his mother couldn't recognize him. It was really tragic. Needless to say, Lan Mo would definitely become a laughingstock and Lu Ming's reputation would be pushed to the peak. A true emperor had defeated a great emperor. This had completely broken the truth and created a miracle. Not bad. I've had a great time today. Lu Ming laughed. He had basically figured out his own combat strength. Of course, if he used the indestructible ancient scroll and fought with all his might, he would be able to suppress his opponent. He should be able to compete with a one-star great emperor who had comprehended the most powerful great Tao. His main purpose in this battle was to test his abilities. Now that the test was over, Lu Ming decided to leave. Lan Mo's mind was initially clearer. However, after hearing Lu Ming's words, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He roared and fainted. "I'm dizzy." Lu Ming pursed his lips. He then took a step forward and left the light shield. When the others saw Lu Ming coming out, they automatically made way for him. This was an invisible force. Lu Ming was so young, but his combat strength had already entered the great emperor realm. In a few years, he would be even more impressive and would definitely become an invincible overlord. Lu Ming left the place and returned to his residence. With a thought, his soul appeared in the small world. It appeared on a mountain peak and looked into the distance. The current small world had a radius of 600,000 miles and was boundlessly vast. Moreover, Lu Ming had planted many spiritual and sacred herbs in the small world. He had also scattered the seeds of various plants. Now, there were many places in the small world that were covered in green grass and flowers. There were also some small trees in some places. It was not very old yet, and there were no large trees. Similarly, there were no animals or demonic beasts. However, the small world was becoming more and more similar to the outside world. Lu Ming planned to let some animals, demonic beasts, and the like in the future. That way, it would be no different from the outside world. Of course, although Lu Ming's cultivation level had improved very quickly, there was still a large area of territory that was deathly silent and lifeless. This required time for the vegetation in the small world to slowly multiply. With a thought, Lu Ming came to the Path Understanding Ancient Tree. The Path Understanding Ancient Tree had been planted on a plain. It was now 500 meters tall. This was all due to the five-colored soil. The 500-meter tall Path Understanding Ancient Tree shot up into the sky. Its trunk was extremely thick, and between its branches, there was a great Tao. Cultivating here would greatly increase the speed of comprehending nomological laws. With the ancient martial tree as the center, the plain was covered in green grass and fresh flowers. The fragrance of the flowers assailed the nose. It was mainly because of the five-colored soil that the vegetation in this area was particularly strong. There were also many spiritual and sacred medicines that smelled good. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the Path Understanding Ancient Tree, cultivating quietly. The news that Lu Ming had defeated Lan Mo was spreading like wildfire. Everyone who heard the news was first shocked, then overjoyed, shocked, jealous, and angry. There were all kinds of expressions and emotions. Lu Ming had caused another wave in the vast land of the Tai Ching heavenly region. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor came to Lu Ming's residence. The Hangyu Heavenly Emperor did not conceal his aura. Lu Ming sensed his arrival the moment he arrived. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and met with the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor. "Senior Hangyu, may first know why you are looking for Lu Ming?" Lu Ming said with a smile. "Lu Ming, I heard that you defeated Lan Mo, so one came to take a look." "Ha ha ha, you're really amazing. Even I was shocked." Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said with a smile. Chapter 2335, The Hangyu Heavenly Emperor was overjoyed. Lu Ming came from the primordial realm, and he had a deep relationship with Lu Ming. He was happier to see Lu Ming's achievements than to see him break through. "Lu Ming, given your current combat strength, I'm afraid that the training in Two Worlds City won't be very effective." Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. "I'm planning to cultivate for a while and raise my cultivation to the peak of True Emperor. Then, I'll go to the battlefield of emperors to gain some experience." Lu Ming said. "The battlefield of emperors? If we go now, I'm afraid it won't have much effect." Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. No effect? Lu Ming was stunned. In the battlefield of great emperors, weren't there many great emperors from both sides fighting and tempering themselves? Now, there's no one left in the battlefield of great emperors. The great emperors from both sides have gone to the Void God Island. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. Void God Island? Lu Ming was puzzled. This was the first time he heard this name. That's right. The Void God Island is a mysterious place that was discovered a few years ago. It's located in the eternal void and contains countless treasures. Now, many great sovereign realm figures have entered the Void God Island. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu explained. Even outsiders can enter? Lu Ming asked. That's right. That island is located in the void and is eternally suspended. Both parties can reach it. It contains countless treasures, all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, chaos stones, primordial chaos stones, supreme grade rough stones, great Tao fragments, heavenly Tao marks, and even heavenly Tao soldiers. Heavenly Emperor Heng Ye's eyes lit up with a fiery light as he spoke. We even have Heaven Tao soldiers. Lu Ming was also shocked. Heaven Tao soldiers were Celestial Emperor weapons, and they contained Heaven Tao. Once a figure in the Heavenly Emperor realm controlled a Heavenly Emperor weapon and activated the power of the Heavenly Tao inside, the combat strength of a Heavenly Emperor would be greatly enhanced. However, Celestial Emperor weapons were extremely rare. Celestial Emperor weapons weren't like great sovereign weapons. Heavenly sovereigns could forge great sovereign weapons, and even some powerful great sovereigns could. However, the Celestial the Arch himself was unable to create the Heaven Tao soldiers. The Celestial the Arch could only borrow the power of the Heavenly Tao. It was impossible for him to forge a weapon that contained the Heavenly Tao. Celestial Emperor weapons could only be forged by supreme powerhouses who had surpassed the Celestial Emperor realm. In addition, some Celestial Emperor weapons that contained the Heavenly Tao could also be nurtured in nature, but the number was extremely small. In fact, most of the Celestial Emperors still used Emperor-level weapons. Once a Celestial Emperor controlled a Celestial Emperor weapon, his combat strength would skyrocket. As such, the price of a Celestial Emperor weapon was astonishingly high. Lu Ming did not expect that the Void Island actually contained a Celestial the Arch weapon. That's right, and there's definitely a lot of them. In the past few years, some people have already brought out Celestial Emperor weapons, which caused a sensation. The fire in Heavenly Emperor Heng Ye's eyes became even more intense. He didn't have a Celestial the Arch weapon. For example, the Celestial Thearch sword in Lu Ming's hand was not a Celestial the Arch weapon. It was only a Great Emperor weapon and did not contain the Heavenly Tao. Wouldn't even the Celestial Emperors be envious of such a treasure land? What's the point of a Great Emperor entering? Lu Ming was puzzled. The Void God Island contains a shocking pressure that can suppress the Heavenly Tao. Heavenly Emperors can't enter at all. Only those below the Heavenly Emperor level can enter. Therefore, it's the most suitable for a great sovereign to enter. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. What? It can even suppress the Heavenly Tao. This, Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. In this world, what was the highest? It was the Heavenly Tao. The Heavenly Tao controlled all things in the world, and all things in the world existed and evolved under the operation of the Heavenly Tao. The Celestial the Arch was at the peak of martial arts, but he could only borrow the power of the Heavenly Tao. Now that Lu Ming heard that there was a pressure that could suppress the Heavenly Tao, he was naturally shocked. Could he be at the level of the ancestral dragon? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he thought of the ancestor dragon. Dandan had once said that the ancestral dragon's realm had surpassed the celestial emperors and reached a completely different realm, a supreme realm. Many people speculated that the Void God Island was a ritual ground of a supreme figure in the distant past, floating in the eternal void. That figure had already transcended the heavenly path, and even the heavenly path was suppressed by him. That's why he had such a terrifying might. This also explains why there are so many celestial arch weapons on the island. A person like that can definitely forge a celestial arch weapon. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu explained. Lu Ming was deeply shocked. It was hard to imagine what kind of treasures would appear in such a place. I'm here to ask you if you'd like to go to the Void God Island. However, it's very dangerous. There are already some dangerous places on the island, and with the great emperors of the alien races and the heaven realm, it's very dangerous. If you don't want to go, you can just cultivate in Two World City. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. I'll go. Lu Ming immediately nodded, his eyes determined. Lu Ming would definitely not miss such a treasure trove. There were all sorts of heavenly materials and earthly treasures on it, such as chaos stones, primordial chaos stones, great Tao fragments, and so on. These would definitely be of help to Lu Ming's cultivation. Moreover, training on it and fighting in life-and-death situations would be even more beneficial to Lu Ming. If he wanted to catch up to or even surpass Xian Yanqing, he couldn't cultivate normally. He had to take risks. Alright, 111 make the arrangements for you. However, you have to remember one thing. On the Void God Island, there are times when danger will come from the people of the heaven realm. There are no restrictions when it comes to snatching treasures there, and people on your side will also attack people on your side. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. Lu Ming nodded. He had experienced so much. He was naturally clear about this. During this period of time, try your best to increase your strength. I will inform you after I have made the arrangements. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu left after he finished speaking. As for Lu Ming, he returned to his residence and thought about the direction of his cultivation. Next, Lu Ming planned to raise his cultivation level to 7-star True Emperor. This was the fastest way to increase his combat strength. Once his cultivation reached 7-star True Emperor, he could try to break through to Great Emperor realm. However, Lu Ming did not plan to break through to the Great Emperor realm so soon. Once he broke through to the Great Emperor realm, his Great Tao would be fixed. It would be difficult to integrate more laws. Lu Ming was ambitious. He wanted to successfully cultivate all 10 ultimate maxims to the third realm and then break through to the Great Emperor realm. If that happened, he did not know what level his Great Tao would reach. This was something that ordinary people did not even dare to think about. However, Lu Ming was completely capable of doing it. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming took out a few pieces of the world core and started to refine it to increase his world energy. He had refined all the chaos gems in his possession. Now, he could only refine the world core and Aurirox to increase his world power. The speed was naturally much slower. However, Lu Ming's cultivation base was already at the limit of a 6-star True Emperor. He was only one step away from becoming a 7-star True Emperor. It was not difficult for him to make a breakthrough. Lu Ming spent a month's time and finally broke through the bottleneck. He raised his cultivation level to 7-star True Emperor. Lu Ming's combat strength had undoubtedly become stronger. Chapter 2336, Lu Ming continued to consolidate his cultivation. A few days later, the Heng Yu Heavenly Emperor arrived. Everything has been arranged and we can set off immediately. Not long after, the Heng Yu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming along as they tore through space and rushed to a place. An hour later, Lu Ming and the group appeared on a boundless ocean. This sea was an inland sea of the Tai Ching Heavenly region. It was vast and boundless. At this moment, there were already some people waiting. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd. Apart from the Heng Yu Heavenly Emperor, there were 3 other Heavenly Emperors. In addition to the 3 Heavenly Emperors, there were 5 other Great Emperors. Among the 5 Great Emperors, there were elders and middle-aged men. Two of them caught Lu Ming's attention. Because the two of them looked exactly the same. It was obvious that they were twins. The twin brothers had both reached the Great Emperor realm. This was extremely rare. It was obvious that these great emperors were also heading to the Void God Island. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the sea again. Up ahead, there was a space that was extremely unstable. It was constantly twisting, and spatial cracks would occasionally appear. This was the spatial tunnel that led to the Void God Island. On the way here, the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor had already told Lu Ming about the spatial passageway in detail. In fact, Two Worlds City was not the only way to come to the Tai Ching Heavenly Region from other heavenly regions. There were two other passages from another battlefield. There were also other hidden void passages that could lead to other heavenly regions. Some could even lead to other worlds, such as the Evil God world. However, these passages were usually extremely small, unstable, and chaotic. Usually, only one person could pass through at a time, and a little more than that could fit 2 or 3 people. Any more than that would not do. Furthermore, these passageways were extremely chaotic and dangerous. Even great emperors could get lost in them. Only the celestial the Arch could pass through safely. At the entrance of these passages, on the side of the heaven realm, there were naturally terrifying experts guarding it. Although there was nothing in the surroundings except for them, Lu Ming was sure that there was a terrifying powerhouse guarding this area. Once a foreign tribe powerhouse crossed the passage, he would be killed. Moreover, this kind of passage usually only allowed 1, 2, or 3 people to pass through. If the alien races dared to come over, they would be surrounded and killed by the masters of the heaven realm. In fact, there were several such passages in the Tai Ching Heavenly Region, and they were all guarded by experts to prevent foreign tribe experts from breaking in. Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming, full of surprise. He did not expect that Lu Ming would also want to enter the Void God Island. As people of the Heaven Realm, I hope that you can help each other when you enter the Void God Island. One of the celestial thearchs said as he looked at Lu Ming and the rest. Naturally. Definitely. The great emperors nodded one after another. Lu Ming nodded as well. It's almost time, let's go. Another great emperor said. With a wave of his hand, a wave of energy enveloped the twin brothers. At this moment, the space above the sea twisted and a spatial crack appeared. The heavenly emperor's figure moved, and he rushed into the spatial crack with the twin brothers, disappearing from sight. This passageway could only allow 3 people to travel at a time. The others waited quietly. After a while, another celestial emperor led 2 people into a spatial rift. The third group was a celestial emperor, and he led a woman in a palace dress into a spatial rift. Only the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor and Lu Ming were left at the scene. They waited for a moment. Lu Ming, let's go. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor waved his hand and a wave of energy enveloped Lu Ming. In a flash, he brought Lu Ming into a spatial rift. As soon as they entered the spatial rift, endless spatial storms swept toward them. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor ignored them and rushed into the spatial storm. Soon, they passed through the spatial storm and arrived at a small void passageway. This void passage was extremely small, and it could only allow 3 people to walk in at most. It was surrounded by chaos and darkness, and a powerful pressure was pressing down on them. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu brought Lu Ming along at an astonishing speed. They flew past the void around them. After an unknown amount of time, the path ahead suddenly became a dead end, turning into darkness. The void passage was broken. The Hengyu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming to a stop. He closed his eyes and sensed carefully. Suddenly, the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming to the right and broke through the darkness. After a while, they arrived at another void passageway. Only the powerhouses of the Heavenly Emperor realm could sense it and find the right path. If it were an ordinary person, even a great emperor, he would probably be lost in the dark void. If he was unlucky, he would never be able to get out and would be forever wandering in the dark void. Just like that, he walked and stopped. A few days passed. Suddenly, a bright light came from the front. In the eternally silent dark void, there was actually a glow. Lu Ming was slightly shocked. At the same time, he knew that he was about to reach his destination. Sure enough, in the next moment, they entered the void tunnel and came to a vacuum area. Yes, this area seemed to have been forcibly opened up in the dark void by someone. There was no spatial storm in this area, as if it was the sky outside. This area was shockingly large. In the center of this area, there was an island floating. From a distance, there seemed to be a sun hanging in the sky directly above the island. The light was scattered down from that sun. The Celestial the Arch, the twin brothers, and the others who had entered earlier were all waiting there. When they saw the Hangyu Celestial the Arch and Lu Ming, they nodded and flew toward the island. This area was extremely vast and shockingly large. With the speed of the Heavenly Emperor realm, it took them quite a long time to fly there. When they got close to the island, they realized that the island was shockingly large. It was not an island, but a continent. This Void God Island is extremely vast. Some people have estimated that it might be 1/10 the size of the Tai-Ching Heavenly region. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. The others were secretly shocked. It was 1/10 the size of the Tai-Ching Heavenly region. This was only a human Taoist rite temple, but it was really a big deal. However, when they were a certain distance away from the island, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor and the others stopped. We can't go any further. Well, be suppressed by that pressure. Next, you can go on your own. A Heavenly Emperor said. With your cultivations, don't go too deep into the island. You can move around in the periphery of the island because many high-level great emperors have gone into the depths of the island. Another advanced Heavenly Emperor. Everyone nodded their heads before flying towards the Void God Island by themselves. Senior, farewell. Lu Ming bade farewell to the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming, be careful. The Hangyu Heavenly Emperor said solemnly. Lu Ming nodded, then turned and flew toward the Void God Island. Chapter 23:37. The group of 6 flew towards the Void God Island. The closer they got to the island, the more they felt how vast it was. It was 1/10 the size of the Tai-Ching Heavenly region. It was too vast. There were endless mountains, endless plains, rivers, and lakes. As they neared the edge of the island, they could feel a terrifying pressure pressing down on them. It was as if they were carrying an endless weight on their bodies. They couldn't help but fall down at an extremely fast speed. The 6 people's expressions changed. They circulated their world force with all their might and slowly stabilized themselves. Lu Ming used the world force. At the same time, his muscles were constantly vibrating the air to stabilize himself. Otherwise, he would have fallen directly. What a terrifying pressure. The 6 people's faces were all very ugly. Although the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor and the others had warned them that the pressure here was astonishing, they were still shocked when they actually felt it. Among the 6 of them, 5 of them were great sovereigns. Lu Ming also had the combat strength of a great sovereign. With their cultivation base, they were almost unable to fly due to the pressure. One could only imagine how terrifying the pressure was. If a true emperor were here, they wouldn't even be able to fly. They would be crushed by this pressure and fall to their deaths. This pressure, this aura, the more the 6 sensed, the more shocked they were. This pressure and aura seemed to be even higher than the heavenly Tao. It seemed to transcend everything and dominate everything. Even the heavenly Tao would be suppressed by this aura. It was as if there was a supreme being in the center of the island that was emitting an aura that suppressed the universe. However, a few years ago, someone had already set foot on this island. In these few years, everyone speculated that this island had been left behind for who knew how many years. The owner of the island had left long ago. The aura on the island should be the aura left behind by the island's owner when he preached here and went into seclusion. At the thought of this, Lu Ming and the rest were even more shocked. However, the aura that was left behind was still so terrifying even after so many years. Even the Heavenly Emperor couldn't enter. After stabilizing their bodies, they slowly descended to the ground. Soon, they were only tens of thousands of meters above the ground. What's that? Suddenly, someone looked forward. There, a dark cloud was flying towards them at an astonishing speed. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Following that, ear-piercing screeches could be heard. Not good, it's crows, all crows. Someone exclaimed. Let's go. Their expressions changed. They turned around and quickly rushed down. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The flock of crows covered the sky and the sun. It was unknown how many of them there were. Each one of them gave off a terrifying aura. Among them, there were true Emperor Realm and empty Emperor Realm. The key was that there were too many of them, so they could only retreat. However, the crows were also very fast, and they were quickly closing in. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, a black stream of light shot toward Lu Ming and the others from below. These black streams of light were all crows. They were black all over and were the size of a head. They looked as if they were cast from black iron. Why are we so unlucky? We've just entered and we've already encountered such a crow. One of them roared. According to what they knew, there were some terrifying strange beasts living on the island, and these crows were one of them. They were extremely terrifying and formed groups. Some people were unlucky and encountered these crows the moment they landed. It was extremely dangerous, and many people died in their mouths. However, the Void God Island was so vast, and the chances of encountering one were not very high. One could only say that their luck was too bad. Kill our way out. Lu Ming shouted, and a long spear condensed in his hand, shining with 9 colors of radiance. Whoosh! 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 The long spear burst out and turned into a spear light, clashing with the crows. The spear radiance was extremely sharp. Each of the spear radiance could penetrate a crow. The others also made their moves. Of the other 6, only one was a 1-star Great Emperor. Of the other 4, 3 were 2-star Great Emperors, and 1 was a 3-star Great Emperor. Their attack power was much stronger than Lu Ming's. As soon as the 6 of them attacked, a large number of crows were killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. However, there were too many crows, and they kept charging from below. The flock of crows in the distance had also rushed over. There were too many of them. Lu Ming and the group were suddenly surrounded by the crows. Let's join forces and kill our way out. The 3-star Great Emperor was a middle-aged man with amazing combat strength. He held a battle axe in his hand, and each time he swung it, a tens of thousands of meters long axe light would be sent out, killing a large number of crows. The Void Emperor, the crow of the true Emperor realm, could not stop him at all. With him as the leader and the others as support, they worked together and instantly tore a path out of the crows, continuously charging out. Buzz! At this time, an ear-piercing sound was heard, and a fiery red light pounced toward the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man struck out with his axe and collided with the fiery red light. A violent explosion was heard and the fiery red light was sent flying. It was a fiery red crow. Its feathers were bright red, like burning flames. The crow was shockingly strong. It was struck by the middle-aged man's axe, but it didn't die. This was a Great Emperor-level crow. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! Ear-piercing sounds rang out continuously. Everyone saw fiery red light flash continuously among the crows. They were all fiery red crows, and there were more than a dozen of them. They were all great Emperor Realm crows. The 6 people's faces changed. There were more than a dozen great Emperor crows. This kind of strength was too shocking. Charge, quickly charge! Someone roared. They erupted with all their strength. At this moment, no one was hiding anything. They used all their strength and continuously attacked, wanting to rush out. However, the dozen or so fire-red crows were already approaching at an astonishing speed. Buzz! Buzz! An ear-piercing sound resounded through the firmament. They flapped their wings as fast as lightning, and their claws were indestructible as they pounced toward Lu Ming and the others. Get lost! Lu Ming shook his long spear and swept it out, colliding with a fiery red crow. Buzz! The long spear trembled continuously and a terrifying force surged along the long spear. Lu Ming's body trembled and he took a few steps back. The long spear that was condensed from the world's energy and the laws was almost scattered. What powerful strength! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The crow was only sent flying by Lu Ming's attack, but it was not injured. Its eyes glowed coldly as it flapped its wings and pounced at Lu Ming again. The other 5 were also in a tough battle. Even the weakest of these crows had the battle prowess of a 1-star great emperor, and the strongest was no weaker than the middle-aged man. The 6 of them were caught in a bitter battle. Chapter 2338. More than a dozen fiery red crows were covered in terrifying flames. Their temperature was astonishingly high, like more than a dozen small suns. They kept pouncing at Lu Ming's group of 6 at an astonishing speed and with terrifying power. Lu Ming's group of 6 tried their best to resist, but they were still in a precarious situation. Buzz! Buzz! At this moment, there were 2 fiery red crows attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and did not hold back at all. The long spear in his hand was constantly thrust out. Boom! Boom! The sharp claws of the 2 fire-red crows collided with Lu Ming's long spear. The long spear trembled continuously, and Lu Ming's body trembled violently as he retreated continuously. The 2 fiery red crows had the combat strength of a 1-star great emperor. If there was only one, Lu Ming could still deal with it. However, with 2 of them, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. His arms were numb from the shock. Fight! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He circulated the indestructible ancient scroll and fought the 2 fiery red crows. With the indestructible ancient scroll's terrifying defense and recovery ability, Lu Ming could still resist. But the others were in danger. The other 1-star great emperor realm old man was caught by one of the crows. A piece of his flesh was torn off and a deep wound appeared on his body. Blood flowed out from the wound, causing his face to turn pale and his aura to weaken. The others were also surrounded by danger and could not even take care of themselves. Charge out, let's go! Someone shouted. They rushed down with all their might, trying to reach the ground and use the complicated terrain to get rid of the crows. However, there were too many crows. There were more than 10 fiery red crows, all of which were at the Great Emperor realm. Crows below the Great Emperor realm formed groups and attacked continuously. To Lu Ming and the rest, they were a huge problem. Therefore, they couldn't get out at all. Bang! Another person was hit by a fiery red crow's wing and was almost cut in half at the waist. It was extremely dangerous. Everyone, in such a situation, let's each take care of our own matters. At this moment, the middle-aged man suddenly spoke, causing the others' expressions to change. What do you want to do? An old man shouted with an ugly expression. Boom! At this moment, the middle-aged man attacked with all his might. The middle-aged man was a 3-star great emperor, and he was the strongest among them. At this moment, he had knocked back a fiery red crow that was as powerful as a 3-star great emperor with one move. He seized the opportunity and rushed to the side. He wanted to escape alone. If he stayed behind with Lu Ming and the rest, he would only be exhausted to death by so many crows. However, with his strength, if he were to escape alone, a 3-star great emperor crow would not be able to hold him back. Damn it! The others roared in anger. If this middle-aged burly man were to escape and the 3-star great emperor crow attacked them, they would be in real danger. They might all die here. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! The crows screeched, and several fiery red crows surrounded the middle-aged man. However, the only thing that could really pose a threat to him was the 3-star great emperor crow. Therefore, under the desperate attack of the middle-aged man, a few crows were sent flying. After paying a little injury, he forcibly rushed out. The middle-aged burly man turned into a streak of light and sped away. The others' hearts began to turn cold. Without the middle-aged man, they would be finished. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. Could it be that he was going to use the Celestial Emperor corporeal body now? Over the years, Lu Ming had given most of the black crystals that he had obtained from the alien races to the Celestial Thearch's body to absorb. The energy stored in the Celestial Thearch's body was extremely abundant. If he were to use the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body, he would have no problem killing these crows. However, Lu Ming had initially planned to keep the Celestial Thearch's body and use it when he entered the Void Island. A large number of Great Emperor experts had gathered on the island. There were people from both the Heaven Realm and the alien race. There were even quite a few peak Great Emperors. In addition to the dangers of the Void Island itself, Lu Ming planned to keep the Celestial Thearch's body and use it when he encountered danger. It would be a pity to use it before entering the Void God Island. But now, it seemed that he had no choice but to use it. Just as Lu Ming was thinking about this, a series of shrill screams rang out in the distance. Buzz! It was the same crow's cry, but this cry had the power to pierce through gold and crack rocks, as if it could tear space apart. In the distance, a group of fiery red crows appeared. Yes, it was a group of about 20 of them. They were all fire-red crows and all of them were at the Great Emperor realm. Some of them had terrifying auras that were even stronger than the 3-star Great Emperor's crow. High-tier Great Emperors were above 3-star Great Emperors. Other than Lu Ming, everyone's faces turned pale. They were already in a desperate situation, and now a group of even more terrifying crows had appeared. It was simply a dead end. The dozen or so crows that came from behind all rushed towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's face was pale and bloodless. "Run!" he roared, and his body emitted a brilliant light. His speed increased explosively as he tried to escape. He was burning his life potential, causing his strength to increase by a large margin. However, those crows were too terrifying. A few of them were extremely powerful. With a flap of their wings, they chased after the middle-aged man like red lightning. Not long after, the middle-aged man was caught up. Chee-chee! A crow, as large as a mountain, with its sharp claws, clawed at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man roared and exploded with all his power. He used his strongest move in an attempt to block it, but his attack was torn apart by the crow's sharp claws, directly tearing half of his body off. The middle-aged man screamed in pain and retreated. He let out a desperate roar. Following that, the other terrifying crows had already arrived. The middle-aged man was unable to turn the situation around. Under the attack of the terrifying crows, his body was torn apart and then swallowed by them. The middle-aged man wanted to escape alone, but he was the first to die. The others were not happy that the middle-aged man had been killed. At this time, they only felt despair. "We're finished," someone growled. Now that the middle-aged man was dead, it was their turn. Lu Ming, what a pity. An old man looked at Lu Ming with a face full of pity. Lu Ming was so young and so talented. His future achievements were limitless. It was very likely that he would become an invincible powerhouse in the heaven realm. It was a pity that he was going to die here. Even if one die, it'll kill a few. Another person shouted, planning to fight with his life on the line. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. At that moment, the fiery red crow that had killed the middle-aged man had its eyes on Lu Ming and the rest. It flapped its wings and flew towards them at top speed. Its blood-red eyes were filled with cold killing intent. It seems like I can only use the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Lu Ming muttered. Then, a small stone statue appeared in his palm. The stone statue rapidly grew in size, and it held a huge sword in its hand. Chapter 2339, The stone statue quickly grew to the size of a mountain. Lu Ming took a step forward and his body merged with the stone statue. Buzz! The sound of the sword reverberated through the sky. A stone sword burst out with dazzling sword chi and slashed out. Pft! Pft! The two fire-red crows that were surrounding Lu Ming were cut into two by the stone sword. The two one-star Great Emperor crows were killed instantly. In the past 5 years, the Celestial Thearch's body had absorbed a large amount of energy, but Lu Ming had not used it. Now, the energy stored in the Celestial Thearch's body had reached 80%. The power of 80% of the energy was already extremely terrifying. Lu Ming speculated that if the energy stored in the Celestial Thearch's body reached 100%, it would be enough to compete with a peak Great Emperor. Therefore, when the stored energy reached 80%, it was enough to kill an ordinary 5-star Great Emperor. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and controlled the Celestial Thearch's physical body. Rich energy exploded and the Celestial Thearch's sword seemed to be indestructible. The sword howled unceasingly, and the ear-piercing sound of sword chi cut through the void. A few more crows were killed one after another, and even the 2-star Great Emperor crow was killed in an instant. This lightened the pressure on the others, and they revealed looks of ecstasy. They did not expect Lu Ming to have such a treasure. They immediately looked hopeful. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! When the other crows saw Lu Ming cutting down a few of the fiery red crows, they immediately let out sharp cries and launched various attacks at Lu Ming and the rest. The 20 or so terrifying crows behind them also approached Lu Ming and the rest rapidly. From a distance, they flapped their wings, and their feathers were like sharp swords, shooting at them. Lu Ming slashed with his sword. The sword ray cut through the void and blocked all the feathers. Charge out! Lu Ming shouted and took the lead to rush down, the others following closely behind. The fire-red crows didn't give up and continued to chase. There were more than 30 fiery red crows coming from behind and in front. They attacked Lu Ming and the rest with all kinds of attacks. Lu Ming could only turn around and block the attacks. Kill! Then, Lu Ming charged into the crows alone. Instead of wasting energy blocking the crows' attacks, it was better to kill them all. Pft! Pft! Lu Ming waved his sword and the sword aura was indestructible. In an instant, 5 fiery red crows were killed. Buzz! The remaining crows screeched, as if they were extremely furious. A few of the strongest crows pounced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming swung his sword and a violent boom erupted. He exchanged a blow with the few strongest crows. A few crows were sent flying by Lu Ming. 3 4-star Great Emperors and 1 5-star Great Emperor. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Through the exchange of moves, Lu Ming could roughly judge the combat strength of the few crows. 3 4-star Great Emperors and 1 5-star Great Emperor. This was definitely a terrifying force. Buzz! 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 The few crows retreated and charged at Lu Ming again. Then I'll kill you all. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. The rich energy in the celestial thearch's body burst out and rushed toward the crows. Lu Ming completely ignored his own defense and attacked with all his might. Boom! 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 The attacks landed on Celestial Emperor's body, but they only left shallow marks on it. After all, the Heavenly Emperor's corporeal body was left behind by a Heavenly Emperor realm expert. It was extremely strong, and even a peak Great Emperor would find it difficult to break it. 4-star Great Emperor and 5-star Great Emperor naturally couldn't break it. As for the other crows, it was even more difficult for them to leave even a trace. Pfft! Lu Ming did not care about defense and focused on killing. He slashed with his combat sword with all his might, cutting off one of the wings of a 4-star Great Emperor Realm Crow. On the other hand, a 2-star Great Emperor Realm Crow was swept by the sword light and was cut in half, its feathers flying everywhere. The 4-star Great Emperor Crow cried out in pain. Its blood splattered in the air as it retreated. How could Lu Ming let the other party off? He chased after him with all his might. The other crow's attacks landed on Lu Ming's body continuously and exploded with dong-dong-dong sounds. However, it could only slow down Lu Ming's speed slightly. Lu Ming forced himself to rush over and slashed with his sword, beheading the crow. The soul and the skull was also destroyed by Lu Ming. With a flash of light, Lu Ming kept the crow's corpse into his small world. A Great Emperor Crow's entire body was a treasure. Its value was shocking, and he couldn't waste it. After killing a 4-star Great Emperor, Lu Ming turned around and targeted the other crows, killing them at top speed. Anyone below the 4-star Great Emperor level could not withstand Lu Ming's sword at all. They were killed by Lu Ming and their corpses were kept in his small world. Buzz! Not long after, another wail was heard. Another 4-star Great Emperor Realm Crow was killed by Lu Ming. In total, Lu Ming had already killed more than 10 fiery red crows. However, there were still about 20 of them left. After Lu Ming killed many of their comrades, the crows became even more frenzied. Those below the Great Emperor level pounced at Lu Ming without any regard for their lives. Although these crows couldn't break through the defenses of Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, they could continuously drain the corporeal Bodis energy. This can't go on. I have to kill the strongest crows first. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. The Celestial Thearch's body had stored 80% of its energy. Although it was extremely powerful, it was still being consumed at an alarming rate as it fought against the Great Emperor realm beings and the crows attacked it. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before the energy in the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body was completely exhausted. If the energy of the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was used up while the 3, 4, and 5-star Great Emperors were still alive, they would be in danger. Therefore, before the energy of Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was exhausted, he had to kill some of the strongest existences on the other side. At that moment, Lu Ming ignored the other crows and set his sights on the existence above 3-star Great Emperor. Pfft! Pfft! Blood splattered everywhere and dyed the sky red. 2 3-star Great Emperor fiery red crows were killed by Lu Ming. This way, there were only 2 fire red crows above the 3-star Great Emperor level. One was a 4-star and the other was a 5-star. Lu Ming put all his effort into dealing with these two. Buzz! 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 Lu Ming waved his sword crazily and attacked the 2 crows. Terrifying rumbles and continuous explosions were heard. The sky was smashed into pieces. The scorching temperature wanted to burn everything, including the space. After more than 10 moves, the 4-star crow was finally killed by Lu Ming. All of a sudden, only the 5-star Great Emperor Crow was left. Kill! Lu Ming ignored the other attacks and charged at the crow crazily. This crow was as large as a mountain and had extremely powerful combat strength. Its sharp claws and wings were all-conquering and extremely terrifying. However, Lu Ming happened to be its nemesis. He did not need to be afraid of its attacks. His combat sword continued to slash at its vital points. Lu Ming had the upper hand. Chapter 2340. At this time, the twin brothers and 2 other people, a total of 4 people, had long rushed to the ground and were running wildly. "It's not good for us to leave Lu Ming alone," an old man said with a worried expression. "What's not good about it? Lu Ming's puppet is shockingly powerful. In my opinion, it's even stronger than a 5-star great emperor. He can protect himself. If we stay, we'll only be a hindrance to him," one of the twins said. "That's right. Let's leave first so that Lu Ming can fight with all his might. We can't help much even if we stay," the other of the twin brothers said. The old man sighed. He knew that what the twin brothers said made sense. Then, the few of them took advantage of the terrain below and quickly left this place. High up in the sky, Lu Ming and the 5 stars Great Emperor Realm Fiery Red Crow had already turned into white heat from the battle. Lu Ming did not care about defense and completely suppressed the crow. They exchanged dozens of moves and the crow was already covered in blood. One of its wings was almost cut off by Lu Ming, leaving only a thread hanging on it. At the same time, his chest was also stabbed by Lu Ming and blood was flowing out. With only one wing left, the crow's speed was greatly reduced. It was no match for Lu Ming and could not even retreat. Bang! Lu Ming took a blow from the other party. His body swayed slightly, then he backhanded and stabbed with his sword. Pfft! This sword had pierced through the other party's heart. Buzz! The other party wailed and struggled violently. Its entire body was covered in fiery red flames that surged toward Lu Ming. However, it had no effect on the celestial thearch's physical body. Die, die! Lu Ming bellowed. Energy exploded wildly. The celestial emperor sword trembled continuously and sword chi whizzed out. Bang! Lu Ming slashed horizontally and finally split the crow's body into 2. Its soul was also annihilated by this attack. The 5-star Great Emperor Crow had fallen. Not good. I've consumed too much energy. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. He had already used up a lot of energy to kill so many fiery red crows, and the amount of energy he had used to fight this 5-star Great Emperor was even more terrifying. Now, Lu Ming felt that the energy in the celestial thearch's physical body was about to be exhausted. He had no more energy to continue killing the remaining crows. A ray of light emanated from Lu Ming's body and enveloped the crow's corpse. He then kept the crow's corpse into his small world. Then, Lu Ming dashed in the direction of the ground at top speed. The crows that blocked his way were killed one by one. Lu Ming had successfully broken out of the encirclement. However, at this moment, the celestial thearch's body trembled and shrank rapidly. Lu Ming's body flew out of the celestial thearch's body. The energy in Celestial Emperor's corporeal body had been completely exhausted. Lu Ming put away the Celestial Thearch's physical body and fled frantically. When the crows saw Lu Ming put away the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body, they let out ear-piercing cries and chased after him. Among them, there were more than a dozen Great Emperor Fire Red Crows. Many of them were even 2-star Great Emperor Crows. If Lu Ming was surrounded, he would be in great danger. Lu Ming spread his 6-feathered divine wings and flew into the distance at top speed. The crows were chasing after him at top speed. The two sides, one running and one chasing, crossed a long distance. The crows bit Lu Ming's tail, but he was extremely fast when he used his 6-feathered wings. Only the great Emperor crows could barely keep up with him. Not long after, a boundless desert appeared in front of them. The ground was covered in fine golden sand, and there were waves of heat coming from far away. Lu Ming dashed into the desert area. The strange thing was that after Lu Ming rushed into the desert area, the crows actually stopped. They wandered around for a while and then left one after another. This made Lu Ming very curious. These crows aren't going to enter the desert. Is it because of the area they're in, or is there something terrifying in the desert that makes them afraid? Lu Ming's mind was filled with thoughts. He did not dare to be careless. He cast the divine breath technique and completely concealed his aura. Then, Lu Ming headed deeper into the desert. This desert was filled with fine golden sand. It stretched as far as the eye could see, and the temperature was shockingly high. The temperature here did not come from the sun in the sky, but from underground. Under the ground, the temperature was constantly rising, and the heat was unbearable. In addition to the pressure from the heaven and earth, if a true emperor were here, he would definitely not be able to withstand it or resist it. However, it was still fine for Lu Ming. Lu Ming walked for a while and realized that the desert was dead silent. There was no vegetation or living creatures. Other than fine sand, there was still fine sand. Fortunately, there was always a sun hanging in the sky above the center of this island. This sun would never change its position, so it could be used as a basis for determining the direction. As long as he walked towards the sun, he would be walking towards the center of the island. Lu Ming had been walking in the desert for 3 days. There was nothing unusual or dangerous. A plant. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a plant in front of him. It had been 3 days since he entered the desert. This was the first time Lu Ming saw a plant. There were still plants in such a high temperature. Lu Ming was interested and flew over. It was a purple plant that was sparkling and resplendent, and its medicinal fragrance assailed the nostrils. Emperor's medicine. Without a doubt, this was an emperor's medicine. However, Lu Ming was more interested in the root of the emperor's medicine. There was a small pond there. There was some liquid in it that emitted a shocking energy essence. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He knew that this emperor's medicine was nurtured by the liquid in this small pool. This liquid was very valuable. This liquid contains a powerful life essence. Even in such a dangerous place, it can produce an emperor's medicine. It's extraordinary. I need this spiritual liquid to cultivate the 7 gods' mysterious technique, or it'll be difficult for me to break through. Lu Ming pondered. At present, there was not much energy left in the drop of ancestral dragon blood in his heart. If he wanted to break through his physical body and cultivate the 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious technique, the remaining ancestral dragon blood was not enough. He needed other energy. Of course, sacred medicine and emperor's medicine could also assist in the cultivation of the body. However, given Lu Ming's current realm, he would need an extremely high-level emperor's medicine to be effective. Lu Ming carefully dug out the emperor's medicine and planted it in his small world. He then took out a jade bottle and collected all the liquid in the small pool. This liquid is enough for me to cultivate for a while. I'll find a place to refine this liquid and see if one can break through to the 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious technique. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. At the moment, he did not plan to break through to the great emperor realm so quickly in his law system. He wanted to completely comprehend all the other ultimate laws before breaking through. If he wanted to increase his combat power quickly, he could only cultivate an immemorial body cultivator and break through his physical body. Chapter 2341. Once his 7 gods' mysterious technique broke through to the 5th stage, Lu Ming's physical strength alone would be comparable to a great emperor. His combat strength would definitely increase tremendously. Lu Ming moved and left the place. Tens of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming rushed into the desert. He went 100 miles deep into the desert and then entered the mountain and river diagram. After entering the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming immediately took out the liquid that he had obtained previously and started to refine it. The liquid contained a huge amount of life essence. Lu Ming circulated the seven gods' mysterious technique to absorb the life essence and strengthen his body. Buzz! All the muscles and bones in Lu Ming's body were shaking violently. In an instant, they shook hundreds of millions of times. The vibration produced a terrifying energy that absorbed the essence of the spirit liquid. It seeped into his muscles, bones, internal organs, blood cells, and every tiny corner of his body, strengthening Lu Ming's physical strength. Half a month later, Lu Ming had refined and absorbed all the spirit liquid. However, his seven gods' mysterious skill had not broken through. It was still at the late stage of the fourth level, but it had reached its limit. What a pity, I'm still so close. Lu Ming sighed. It was too difficult to reach the fifth level of the seven gods' mysterious skill. The cultivation of the immemorial cultivation system, be it the immemorial body cultivation lineage, the immemorial martial arts, the immemorial demonic path, or the immemorial fiend path, was more difficult than the nomological system. It also consumed more resources. Otherwise, the immemorial cultivation system would not have been defeated by the nomological system in the immemorial era. If he wanted to break through to the fifth level of the seven gods' mysterious technique, he would need more resources. However, the spiritual liquid was not wasted. Although Lu Ming did not make a breakthrough, the strength of his body had increased by a level. His strength had also become stronger. The Void God Island has many heavenly treasures. I'll definitely be able to find enough resources to allow my fleshly body to break through. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He then exited the mountain and river diagram and continued to search the desert. However, for the next few days, Lu Ming did not gain anything and did not meet anyone else. On this day, Lu Ming was hurrying on his way when the desert suddenly exploded. A terrifying axe gleam slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shocked. He retreated rapidly and threw a punch at the same time. Boom! There was a loud noise and Lu Ming slid along the desert for a distance before he stopped. In front of him, a burly figure appeared. The evil god race. It was a member of the evil god tribe. His entire body was covered in purple scales. He was tall and held a battle axe in his hand as he looked at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. A true emperor actually dared to enter the Void God Island and even blocked my attack. It seems that you are a peerless genius of the heaven realm. It seems that my luck is not bad. The evil god tribe member grinned, and his eyes were extremely cold. 1-star Great Emperor. Based on the other party's aura and the exchange of blows just now, Lu Ming could determine the other party's realm. The other party was only a 1-star Great Emperor, but he was a noble of the non-human race, and his battle strength couldn't be underestimated. However, Lu Ming was not afraid. He had hastily blocked the attack just now and was forced to retreat. He was far from using his full strength. 1-star Void Emperor, I'll take you on. Lu Ming said coldly. What did you just say? You want to use me as an example? The evil god race member grinned. A mere heaven realm true emperor realm ant actually said that he wanted to take him down. What a joke. Bang! The evil god race member took a step forward, causing sand and dust to fill the sky. He charged at Lu Ming, the battle axe in his hand slashing at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body glowed with 9 colors. He circulated his physical strength and world force to the maximum and charged at his opponent. Boom! The two of them exchanged a blow, and the force spread in all directions like water waves. The sand was swept up and spread in all directions like sea waves. Below the two of them, a deep pit that was thousands of miles wide appeared. Buzz! A figure retreated continuously. This time, it was not Lu Ming but the evil god tribe. The evil god tribe's 3 eyes were wide open as they looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. He found it hard to believe that he would be forced to retreat by a true emperor. Your strength is only so, kill. Lu Ming shouted and charged at the other party. Bang! 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 The 2 of them turned into 2 streams of light and continued to collide. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. However, the evil god tribe was at a complete disadvantage. They were no match for Lu Ming. Their bodies trembled and their arms ached. Before entering the Void Island, Lu Ming had already defeated Lan Mo in his battle. At that time, Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at 6-star True Emperor. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation level had reached 7-star True Emperor, and the strength of his physical body had become stronger. Although this non-human emperor was slightly stronger than Lan Mo, he was still no match for Lu Ming. He was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Whoosh! Lu Ming's palm was like a divine sword. He thrust it out and stabbed the alien. Their bodies were covered in purple scales, and their defensive power was astonishing. However, Lu Ming's palm was covered with 9 types of laws. The laws intertwined and combined to form a divine power with even more terrifying power. Coupled with Lu Ming's physical strength, he broke through the other party's scales and left a hole in the other party's body, causing blood to flow. Damn it! The non-human emperor howled in anger as he retreated with a look of fear in his eyes. He then turned around and ran. He understood that he was no match for Lu Ming. If he forced himself to continue fighting, not only would he not be able to kill Lu Ming, but he would also be killed by Lu Ming. How could there be such a terrifying Heaven's Pride expert in the Heaven realm? He's just a true emperor, but his combat strength is stronger than mine. This is too terrifying. No, I must spread this news and let others kill this brat. Otherwise, if he grows up, it will be a disaster for our race. This non-human emperor thought to himself. However, how could Lu Ming let him escape? He spread his 6-feathered divine wings and chased after him. Although you are stronger than me, it is impossible for you to kill me. The non-human emperor roared. Lu Ming was stronger than him, but not by a ridiculous margin. As long as he wanted to escape, Lu Ming could not kill him. Is that so? The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly and a large bow appeared in his hands. It was the fallen star bow. Lu Ming pulled the fallen star bow with all his might and the bowstring of the fallen star bow bent. Currently, Lu Ming was still unable to fully draw the fallen star bow. He had only pulled it halfway. The 9 types of nomological laws and the power of the world were constantly pouring into the fallen star bow. The fallen star bow glowed with a brilliant light, and a 9-colored arrow was formed. Buzz! Lu Ming let go of the bow, and the bowstring vibrated violently. The 9-colored arrow flew out and burst toward the non-human emperor. The non-human emperor roared as he swung his axe down toward the 9-colored arrow. Clang! A heaven-shaking boom sounded out, and the non-human emperor's body trembled as he was forced to retreat. He almost lost his grip on his battle axe. How is that possible? The non-human emperor was shocked by the power of the fallen star bow. Buzz! Lu Ming drew the fallen star bow again and shot another 9-colored arrow at the other party. Chapter 2342, The arrow streaked through the air, leaving a long tail in its wake. It was 9-colored and dazzled the eyes, but its speed was unbelievably fast and its power was shocking. The non-human emperor roared as a destructive light shot out from his third eye. At the same time, he slashed out with his battle axe. Clang! The 9-colored arrow landed on the battle axe of the non-human emperor for the second time. The battle axe trembled violently, and then flew out of his hand. The non-human emperor's body trembled violently as he was forced back continuously. The web between his thumb and forefinger was torn open, and blood flowed freely from it. One of his arms had completely lost all feeling. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the level of a 7-star true emperor, and his 9 types of laws had all reached the 3rd level. When he pulled the bowstring, the power was many times stronger than before. Ordinary 1-star great emperors would find it hard to resist. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming drew his bow continuously and shot 2 more arrows. The non-human emperor let out an unwilling roar as he used all of his strength to block, but it was all in vain. Of the 2 arrows, one pierced through the chest of the non-human emperor, nailing him to the ground. The second arrow pierced through his forehead, killing him instantly. A great emperor was killed by Lu Ming. This was the first time he had done so without borrowing the celestial thearch's corporeal body. Lu Ming also sighed in his heart. He had unknowingly grown to the point where he could kill a great emperor. More than 10 years ago, when he was in the Yuan continent, the great emperor was so high up in his eyes that he could not climb up. At that time, Lu Ming could not compete with the great emperor at all except by relying on the celestial thearch's physical body. The great emperor could kill him with one slap with his true strength. But now, things were different. Unknowingly, his strength had grown to an astonishing height. After killing the non-human emperor, the 9-colored arrow turned into energy and disappeared. Lu Ming was just about to fly over and collect the corpse of the alien emperor when 2 beams of light flickered in the distance and flew over at high speed. It's them. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The 2 streaks of light were actually the twin brothers. The 2 of them had obviously discovered Lu Ming from afar. Hence, they flew at a very fast speed and arrived at Lu Ming's side in an instant. The 2 of them looked at the non-human emperor with surprise. Brother Lu Ming is really amazing. You killed a great emperor with your own abilities. I'm impressed, I'm impressed. One of them said, his eyes revealing a look of surprise. I was just lucky. Lu Ming smiled faintly and walked over to collect the body of the non-human emperor. Brother Lu, did you kill all the crows that day? The person who had spoken earlier asked again. No, I just rushed out. Lu Ming answered casually. Oh. The twin brothers looked at each other and nodded. Brother Lu Ming, it seems like we are fated. Why don't we work together next? All right. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. He was not familiar with this place. Moreover, the 2 people before him had rather high cultivation levels. Lu Ming could not use the celestial thearch body now. If he had more people with him, they would be of more help if he were to encounter any danger. You 2, do you know how big this desert is? Lu Ming asked. This desert is huge. We've been wandering in this desert for the past few days. It's deathly silent, and there are no opportunities. We're just wasting our time here. As long as we keep going into the depths of the island, we'll definitely be able to leave this desert. One of the twins said. This person was the elder brother of the twin brothers. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, there was not much to be gained in this desert. He had wandered around for many days and had only obtained an emperor's medicine and some spiritual liquid. Immediately, the 3 of them discussed for a while before heading towards the center of the island. On the way, Lu Ming found out the 2 people's names. One of them was called Wuxia, and the other was called Wu Bo. Both of them were 2-star great emperors. Along the way, they encountered a wave of non-humans, but there were only 2 of them. One was a 2-star great emperor while the other was a 1-star great emperor. Naturally, he was besieged by Lu Ming and the other 2 and eventually killed. Later on, they encountered a group of 7 to 8 people from the foreign tribe. At first, Wuxia suggested that Lu Ming take out his puppet and kill these foreign tribes, but Lu Ming turned around and left. The puppet that Wuxia was referring to was the celestial thearch's physical body. However, the energy in the physical body had been exhausted, so there was no way he could kill the enemy. Naturally, Lu Ming turned and left. Fortunately, they were fast enough, so they didn't get surrounded by the alien races and successfully escaped. Just like that, they flew for half a month before leaving the desert area. The main thing was that the pressure in this area was too strong. Their flying speed was thousands of times slower than outside. That was why it took so long to cross the desert. After passing through the desert, they came to a crimson land. The temperature of this land was astonishingly high, and lava could be seen flowing out from the ground from time to time. An astonishingly high temperature was constantly spreading from the ground. Logically speaking, such an environment was even more deathly silent than the desert from before. There was even less vegetation, but the truth was the opposite. Vegetation could be seen here from time to time. All kinds of fiery red vegetation were rooted in the hot ground. Some of them were even rooted in the lava. That's the flowing flame wood, and the fire stone grass. Not long after they arrived on this land, Lu Ming discovered several kinds of emperor's medicine. They were all very valuable and were taken away by the three of them. This land of fire was simply a treasure land. The three of them began to search with blazing eyes. A few days later, each of the three of them had obtained more than 10 emperor's herbs. One day, the three of them suddenly stopped after crossing a mountain. That was because a few figures had appeared in the canyon ahead. The three of them quickly hid and watched from afar. The evil god race. The valley was filled with the evil god tribe, and there were a total of 5 of them. In the canyon, there was a pitch-black cave. The 5 members of the evil god race were pacing back and forth outside the cave, and their bodies were emitting powerful auras. 3 2-star Great Emperors and 2 1-star Great Emperors. Wu Ba's expression was grave as he muttered. Brother Lu Ming, these 5 members of the evil god tribe have been loitering outside the cave. One reckon that there must be some treasure in the cave. We can't miss such an opportunity. However, the other party has 3 2-star Great Emperors and 2 1-star Great Emperors. They are much stronger than us. We can't deal with them, Brother Lu Ming. Why don't you take out that puppet and kill these 5 members of the evil god race? If there are really treasures, you can take the biggest share. Wu Xiao said. This plan won't work. Let's just observe for a while. Lu Ming said. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo looked at each other again, and a bright light flashed in their eyes. The 3 of them waited quietly. Chapter 2343 Dragon. The 5 members of the evil god tribe were pacing back and forth in the valley. After a while, a 2-star Great Emperor from the evil god tribe suddenly rushed into the cave. Roar! A furious roar suddenly came from the cave. This roar was like a dragon's roar, but also like a python's hiss. It was extremely ear-piercing. Immediately after, a loud boom came from the cave, and the entire valley began to shake. In less than a minute, the member of the evil god tribe who had rushed into the cave earlier rushed out. Outside the cave, the 4 members of the evil god tribe had grave expressions on their faces as they waited in formation. Roar! With a loud roar, a huge and slender body rushed out of the cave. This is, in the distance, Lu Ming's eyes moved. It was a strange beast that looked like a real dragon. Its body was covered in scales, but it only had 4 claws. On its back, there was a pair of wings that were extremely huge when spread out. This was a type of exotic beast that Lu Ming had never seen before. Roar! The mutant beast roared, and its body was covered in blazing flames. Its wings flapped out, and it pounced toward the evil god race member with lightning speed. The evil god tribe member from earlier charged toward the other 4 members of the evil god tribe. Do it! One of the members of the evil god race roared out. all of the members of the evil god race attacked together. Four beams of destructive light shot out from their third eyes before transforming into various attacks. Some of them turned into swords, some into sabers, and some into various beasts. Buzz! The dragon-like beast flapped its wings and sliced through the air like a heavenly blade, trying to block the evil god race's attack. However, they only managed to block a portion of the attacks. There were still a few attacks that broke through the encirclement and struck the strange beasts, causing them to stop in their tracks. Attack with all your might and kill this beast. A 2-star Great Emperor from the evil god race shouted, and the 5 members of the evil god race surrounded the strange beast. The beast's combat strength was extremely powerful, stronger than any 2-star Great Emperor from the evil god race. However, it wasn't much stronger, and it was instantly at a disadvantage against the 5 of them. The beast's defensive power was astonishing, and its scales were extremely tough. Even a 1-star Great Emperor from the evil god tribe would find it difficult to break through its defenses. Only a 2-star Great Emperor from the evil god tribe would be able to cause any damage to it. Thus, although the beast was injured, it was still able to hold on. Roar! Roar! The strange beast roared. It seemed to be very unwilling and extremely furious. The flames on its body became hotter and hotter. Finally, its huge body began to shrink. Its originally 100-meter-long body finally shrank to 3 meters in length. However, its body began to glow with a crystalline light. The biggest change was in its wings, which had become fiery red and crystalline, as if they were made of fiery red jade. Buzz! The mutant beast flapped its wings, and its speed was much faster than before. Like a streak of light, it soared into the sky and broke out of the evil god tribe's encirclement in an instant. Be careful! One of the evil god race members roared. Roar! The strange beast roared and pounced down from the sky like a bolt of red lightning. It pounced toward one of the 1-star Great Emperor Realm evil god tribe members with extreme speed. The evil god race member was shocked and wanted to retreat. However, it was already too late. Poochie! The strange beast's sharp claws broke through the opponent's defense and directly tore off one of his arms. At the same time, one of its wings slashed out horizontally, sharper than a heavenly blade. Pfft! That evil god race member was directly split into 2. A 1-star Great Emperor from the evil god race was killed in an instant. You're looking for death. The other members of the evil god tribe roared and launched all sorts of attacks at the mutant beast. The strange beast's speed was extremely fast. It tried its best to dodge, but it was still cut by an axe. Scales flew, and a wound was left on its body, blood flowing out. The mutant beast was injured, and it became even more furious. It roared continuously and pounced toward the remaining 1-star Great Emperor Realm evil god tribe member. The exotic beasts were too fast, it was almost impossible to dodge if they wanted to attack. They could only attack head-on. The 1-star Great Emperor Realm evil god race member fought back with all his might, while the other 3 2-star Great Emperor Realm evil god race members continued to attack. However, in the end, the mutated beast was hit once, but it still managed to pounce to the side of the 1-star Great Emperor Realm evil god tribe member. It used its sharp claws and wings to kill the evil god tribe member. The 2 weakest members of the evil god race were killed by the strange beasts one after another, leaving only 3 2-star Great Emperor Realm members of the evil god race. The evil god tribe was enraged after having 2 of their members killed in a row. They launched all sorts of fierce attacks at the mutated beast. The strange beast relied on its extremely fast speed to dodge continuously and pounced toward a 2-star Great Emperor from the evil god race. However, a 2-star Great Emperor wasn't easy to kill. In a one-on-one battle, the mutated beast might be stronger than any of the evil god tribe's members. However, when 3 of them joined forces, the mutated beast would not be a match for them. The two sides exchanged more than a dozen moves. One of the members of the evil god race was almost torn in half by the beast and was severely injured. However, the beast itself was also covered in blood and its injuries were also quite serious. Buzz. In the end, the mutant beast set its eyes on the heavily injured evil god tribe member and pounced toward him in a frenzy, starting a fierce killing spree. The entire body of a mutated beast was a weapon that could be used to attack. Its attacks were like a storm, and it was impossible to defend against. Pfft. The evil god tribe member was already heavily injured and was no match for the beast. His chest had been pierced through by the tail of the beast, and the terrifying power tore him into pieces. However, the attacks of the other two evil god tribe members had also arrived. A giant axe slashed at the beast, directly cutting off one of its wings. Another mace hit the strange beast. The strange beast's bone armor made a cracking sound, and its body was smashed into the valley. Boom! The earth trembled and dust filled the air. A large pit appeared on the ground. This time, the strange beast suffered a heavy injury and was on the verge of death. Kill, kill. The eyes of the remaining two members of the evil god tribe were extremely cold. They didn't give the strange beast any chance to catch its breath as they rained down all kinds of attacks. Roar! The strange beast roared, extremely unwilling to give up, and rushed toward the cave with all its might. Don't let him return to Rhe cave. One of the evil god race members roared. The two members of the evil god tribe charged toward the dragon-shaped beast with all their might. All sorts of attacks landed on the body of the beast, causing more wounds to appear on it. Its tail had been cut off, and one of its sharp claws had been chopped off. Bang! The strange beast was powerless to turn the situation around. It fell heavily to the ground and was no longer breathing. Evil creature, you dare to kill my clansman? Today, I'll treat you as a dish of wine. One of the evil god race members said coldly as he flew toward the mutant beast. When he got close to the dragon-shaped beast, he swung his axe down, trying to cut off the dragon-shaped beast's head. However, at this moment, the dragon-shaped beast suddenly let out a loud roar. Its entire body shone as it charged toward the evil god tribe member. The two of them were too close to each other, and the evil god tribe member saw that the dragon-shaped mutant beast was about to die and was completely unprepared. At this moment, he was greatly alarmed and retreated frantically. At the same time, his third eye burst forth with light. Pfft! The beam of light broke through Rhe evil god tribe's destructive light and pierced through his body. FNBSP, the evil god race member retreated, and a hole appeared on his body. He was badly injured. Chapter 2344. The dragon-shaped beast launched its final attack and severely injured one of the evil god tribe members. However, it was still like a lamp running out of oil. It fell to the ground and stopped breathing. Animal, you! The severely injured evil god tribe member was furious. He chopped off the head of the dragon-shaped beast with his axe and dug out a fist-sized crystal. Then, the two members of the evil god tribe looked at the cave with a fiery gaze. In the distance, Lu Ming, Wuxia, and Wu Bo exchanged glances. Attack! Wuxia muttered. Lu Ming and Wu Bo nodded. Right now, there were only two people left from the evil god tribe. Although both of them were two-star great emperors and were on par with Wuxia and Wu Bo, one of them was already injured and his combat strength had weakened. Lu Ming and the other two were still confident that they would be able to defeat him. Without any hesitation, the three of them charged out at an astonishing speed. Heaven Realm Human. The moment the three of them charged out, two of the evil god race's members discovered them and immediately roared in anger. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two members of the evil god race immediately launched their attacks. A destructive light shot out from their third eye. One of them turned into three combat swords, while the other turned into a ferocious tiger. They pounced towards the three of them. The infinite dragon spear was formed in Lu Ming's hands. It contained 9 types of laws and was thrust forward. Thump! The long spear struck one of the combat swords, causing a loud boom. The combat sword was sent flying, but Lu Ming's long spear continued to shake and buzz. What powerful strength! Lu Ming felt his arm go numb. 2-star Great Emperor was indeed powerful. If Lu Ming did not use the fallen star bow now, he would be able to suppress an ordinary 1-star Great Emperor with his own combat strength. However, he would still be slightly weaker when he encountered a 2-star Great Emperor. Air-shattering palm. On the other side, the twin brothers, Wuxia and Wu Bo, also used their special abilities. The sacred art they used was exactly the same. Both of their palms became transparent, but there was a shocking aura flowing around. The two of them struck out with their palms. Wuxia attacked the ferocious tiger. Wu Bo attacked the remaining 2 swords. Boom! Boom! With a violent boom, the tiger and the 2 combat swords were destroyed by the 2. What a powerful force! Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. After breaking through the obstruction of the evil god tribe's attacks, the 3 of them did not stop and quickly approached the 2 members of the evil god tribe. I'll deal with the uninjured one. You guys work together to kill the injured one, and then come help me. Wu Xiao sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming and Wu Bo. Then, he charged toward the uninjured member of the evil god tribe. The 2 of them started fighting. Lu Ming and Wu Bo charged toward the injured evil god tribe member. Boom! Boom! Wu Bo's palm seemed to be transparent. It was as if it was made of a pair of transparent crystals. The power of the attack was shocking. Wherever his palm passed, the space would explode and shatter. Human, kill, die. The evil god tribe members roared as they wielded their battle axes and slashed toward Wu Bo. Clang! Clang! Wu Bo's palm collided with the evil god tribe 1's battle axe, creating a violent boom that sounded like metal clashing. After a few violent tremors, Wu Bo's body swayed, while the evil god tribe member's burly body was forced to retreat. The evil god tribe member had been severely injured by the counterattack of the dragon-shaped beast before it died. Its combat strength had been greatly reduced, and it was no match for Wu Bo in a head-on clash. At this moment, Lu Ming also launched an attack. Lu Ming immediately took out the fallen star bow. Although his opponent was injured, he was still a 2-star Great Emperor. If he fought to the death, he would still be very powerful, and the fallen star bow was the most effective way to kill him. Buzz! The bowstring vibrated, and a 9-colored arrow shot toward the other party. The terrifying power caused the other party's expression to change, and he could only try his best to resist. Clang! The other party slashed out with his axe, blocking the 9-colored arrow. However, his body was still retreating, and this affected his injuries, worsening them. How could Wu Bo let go of such an opportunity? He launched a storm-like attack on his opponent. The evil god tribe member was already injured and was not a match for Wu Bo. With the threat of the fallen star bow, he was naturally no match for Wu Bo. Within a few moves, the opponent was hit by Wu Bo. Bang! Wu Bo's palm landed on the other party's body. That spot had already been pierced through by the dragon-shaped beast earlier. Now that it was struck, it immediately exploded, sending blood and flesh flying. The evil god tribe member let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was sent flying like a broken sandbag, and his aura was extremely weak. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and shot an arrow. Pfft! The arrow pierced through the head of the other party. The other party roared and stopped breathing. With Lu Ming and Wu Bo working together, the injured evil god tribe member was easily dealt with by the 2 of them. As for the last member of the evil god race, when he saw this, his face turned pale with fright. He unleashed a few more attacks at Wuxia before turning around and running. He understood that he would definitely die if he were to face Lu Ming and the other two alone. "Stop him!" Wuxia shouted as he chased after the other party. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, Lu Ming drew the fallen star bow continuously. Two nine-colored arrows flew out and drew a semicircular arc in the air. They ran to the front of the evil god tribe and shot toward them. The evil god tribe member could only wave his mace to block. Although he managed to block the nine-colored arrow, his body was also blocked. Wuxia quickly arrived, his palm continuously bombarding out. Meanwhile, Wu Bo had also quickly arrived and joined the battle. The two brothers joined forces, and their combat strength increased explosively. The evil god tribe could no longer break out of the encirclement and could only try their best to resist. As for Lu Ming, he appeared not far away with the fallen star bow in his hand. This caused the evil god tribe member to be even more flustered, and he had to divert his attention to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out a pile of raw gemstones and began to devour the original qi in them to restore his world energy. At the same time, an arrow was shot out. Every time Lu Ming shot an arrow, he would find an opening to shoot it, catching the other party off guard. The other party was distracted, so how could he block the attacks of the two brothers, Wuxia and Wu Bo? His body was struck repeatedly, and purple scales flew in all directions while his bones were broken. The evil god tribe member roared in rage. However, the outcome was already decided. After a few more moves, the evil god tribe member's head was pierced through by Wuxia's attack, and he was completely dead. All 5 members of the evil god tribe had fallen, and the 3 of them looked toward the cave. It was obvious that this cave was the cave abode of the dragon-shaped strange beast from before. The 5 members of the evil god tribe had their eyes on this place, and there was definitely a rare treasure inside. The 3 of them landed in front of Rhe cave. "Let's go in together. Be careful. Although Rhe dragon-shaped strange beast in the cave has been killed, we can't guarantee that there won't be other dangers." Wu Xiao said cautiously. Lu Ming and Wu Bo nodded. Then, the 3 of them carefully headed toward the cave. As soon as they entered Rhe cave, they felt a scorching heat rush over. The 3 of them felt like their bodies were about to burn. Lu Ming activated the power of Rhe world and the 9 types of laws to cover his entire body to resist the temperature in the cave. It was a huge passage, dozens of meters high and wide. In the depths of the cave, a fiery red radiance spread out. Chapter 23:45. The 3 of them followed the passageway and advanced forward. After about 1,000 meters, they crossed the passageway and came to a cave. This cave was very large, and it was completely red. The temperature was even more astonishing, and it was like a furnace. If it weren't for their profound cultivation, ordinary people definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. As soon as they entered, their eyes were attracted to a small pool in the middle of the cave. There was a red liquid in the pool. The terrifying temperature was coming from the red liquid. This wasn't lava, because there was an extremely dense essence inside. "This is liquid fire," Lu Ming muttered. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo's eyes also lit up. Flames were usually like gas. They could be seen but not touched. However, in places with extremely rich flame energy, after hundreds of millions of years of evolution, a strange treasure would be formed, and that was liquid fire. Liquid fire was an extremely rare treasure that contained a huge amount of fire essence. It was extremely valuable to cultivators. Most importantly, it would be useful no matter which path he cultivated. Those who cultivated the nomological system could be used to temper their world power and condense small worlds. Those who cultivated the primordial diabolism and the primordial demonic path could also be used to temper their unique power. Ancient body cultivators could use it to temper their bodies. In fact, the evil god tribe could even use it for cultivation. No matter which one it was, the effect was shocking. No wonder the 5 members of the evil god tribe had wanted to rush into this place while the dragon-shaped strange beast had been unwilling to leave. The eyes of the 3 people became fiery. This pool of liquid fire is quite a lot. I low about the 3 of us split it equally. Wuxia's eyes flickered as he looked at Lu Ming. I have no objections. Lu Ming said. I'll collect some first, said Wu Bo. He then waved his hand, and a jade bottle appeared. Wu Bo controlled the jade bottle to fly toward the small pond. He wanted to scoop up some of the liquid flame, but when the liquid flame entered the jade bottle immediately burned up and turned into ashes, disappearing without a trace. Such a high temperature. The few of them were shocked. I don't believe it. Wu Bo waved his hand again, and a box appeared in the air. The box was made of metal and was engraved with runes. The aura it exuded was also extremely astonishing. This is a true emperor weapon. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Wu Bo controlled the box and flew over, trying to put the liquid fire into the box. However, when the liquid fire flew into the box immediately let out a sizzling sound, and within a few seconds, the box burst into flames. A few minutes later, the box followed in the footsteps of the jade bottle, turning into ashes and dissipating. The few of them looked at each other. The temperature of the liquid fire was too shocking. Even true emperor weapons were burned to ashes. Are we going to use an emperor weapon? Wu Bo gritted his teeth. I'll do it. Wuxia said as he took out a monarch weapon. This monarch weapon was truly a monarch weapon, it was like an alms bowl. However, when the liquid fire was put into the alms bowl, it still made a sizzling sound and a light smoke drifted out of it. Wuxia's expression changed greatly, and he hurriedly poured out the liquid fire. Then, he looked at the alms bowl, and saw that there were already a few pits in it. Wuxia's heart ached. In just a short while, his emperor-level weapon had been damaged. If he had delayed any longer, his emperor-level weapon would have been burned through. We can't take it away. Wuxia sighed, somewhat speechless. The liquid fire couldn't be taken away at all. The temperature was so high that it could even damage emperor weapons. Could it be that he needed a celestial emperor weapon? However, celestial emperor weapons were extremely precious and rare. Many celestial emperors didn't have celestial emperor weapons, so it was naturally impossible for them to have one. Since he couldn't take it away, he could only refine it here slowly. However, there were many experts from the Heaven Realm and the evil god race who had entered the Void God Island. This place might be discovered by other experts at any time. It was extremely dangerous to stay here and refine it. I'll try. Lu Ming said. Then, his glabella glowed and a huge cauldron appeared. This was the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. The Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron was a weapon with 9 dragons. It was extremely powerful and sturdy. Lu Ming speculated that it was definitely a celestial the arch weapon. Even if it couldn't exert its power now, the material was there, so the liquid fire shouldn't be able to do anything to the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. Lu Ming controlled the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron to fly out and into the small pool. Then, the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron emitted a powerful suction force and sucked the liquid fire into the Divine Cauldron. There was no problem at all. The Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron did not have any abnormalities. He took the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron back to take a look and found nothing unusual. It was just like an ordinary liquid that had been put into a water tank. Yes. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo were both ecstatic. Lu Ming was relieved. He continued to control the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron to absorb the liquid fire. Soon, a small pool of liquid fire was sucked into the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. The Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron flew back and was put away by Lu Ming. Let's find a secret place, divide it equally among the 3 of us, and then slowly refine it. How about it? Lu Ming's gaze shifted to Wu Xiao and Wu Bo. Alright, it's all thanks to brother Lu Ming this time. Let's leave this place quickly. Wu Xiao's face was filled with smiles, and so was Wu Bo. Let's go. Lu Ming nodded and turned to leave. However, just as Lu Ming turned around, Wu Xiao and Wu Bo suddenly launched an attack. Their palms turned transparent as they charged towards Lu Ming with shocking power. This turn of events was extremely sudden. You guys, Lu Ming sensed the danger and roared in anger. 9 types of laws emanated from his body and covered his entire body. Lu Ming only had time to react before Wu Xiao and Wu Bo's attacks landed on him. Boom! Lu Ming's body was sent flying and he crashed heavily into the wall of the cave. Everything on Void God Island was under that terrifying pressure at all times. Therefore, it became extremely sturdy. However, now that Lu Ming had crashed into the wall, the entire cave shook violently. The wall exploded and a huge pit appeared. Lu Ming lay in the deep pit, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. His face was pale and his aura was weak. You guys! Why are you doing this? Lu Ming shouted, extremely furious. Why? Ha ha ha, who asked you to have so many treasures on you? Wu Xiao laughed. That's right. That puppet from before could even kill 3-star great emperors and 4-star great emperors. How powerful would it be if it fell into the hands of us brothers? Also, the cauldron in your hands can even contain liquid fire. It's definitely extraordinary. The number 1 prodigy of the heaven realm is indeed extraordinary. Lu Ming, I'm afraid that you have more treasures than this. If we get it, we'll definitely soar to the sky. He he he. Wu Bo laughed coldly, his eyes filled with greed. Lu Ming had too many treasures on him. Moreover, he was the number 1 prodigy of the heaven realm. He must have had many fortuitous encounters. If they could take all of Lu Ming's fortuitous encounters, the 2 brothers would definitely rise up against the heavens. It was not impossible for him to become a peak expert of the heaven realm in the future. Chapter 2346. You guys, aren't you afraid that it'll control those puppets and kill you? Lu Ming asked. At the same time, he cast the indestructible ancient scroll to heal himself. Of course, on the surface, he still had to pretend to be weak to confuse them. Of course. In the beginning, we didn't dare to attack you. However, when we encountered the evil god tribe a few times, I intentionally mentioned it and asked you to control that puppet to kill the evil god tribe. However, you didn't do it. This made me suspect that your puppet requires energy. When you faced so many crows back then, I reckon that its energy must have been exhausted. Wu Xiao sneered. Lu Ming's expression darkened. There's no need to say anything more. Let's kill him first. This person is a peerless heaven's favorite. If we delay, things will change. Wu Bo said. Not bad. Wu Xiao also nodded, his eyes flashing with a cold light. They did not dare to be careless when it came to Lu Ming. The ambush just now was done by the 2 of them together and they used their full strength. Wait a minute, one was the one who saved you when we met those crows. Speaking of which, I'm also your savior. Is this how you treat your savior? Lu Ming shouted. Savior? Ha ha ha, what kind of bullshit savior is this? You're a heaven's pride expert, yet you still believe in this. In this world, benefits come first, do you understand? Wu Xiao laughed sarcastically. Wu Bo sneered as well. The 2 of them walked toward Lu Ming. However, the 2 of them were very cautious. They set up layers of defense around their bodies, afraid that Lu Ming would counterattack before he died. Although the 2 of them had used their full strength in the surprise attack just now and the power was shocking, they were confident that it was a miracle that Lu Ming was not dead. They definitely had no way to resist. However, they had to be cautious with Lu Ming's reputation. Al. At this moment, Lu Ming heaved a long sigh. You don't need to sigh. We will help you carry forward the fortuitous encounter you have. Wu Xiao sneered. I'm sighing because I'm sighing that the ancient scripture I have will be lost from now on. Lu Ming said. Ancient scripture? The eyes of Wu Xiao and Wu Bo lit up. That's right, the chaos ancient scripture. Lu Ming said. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo's eyes were burning with fire. Hand over the chaos ancient scripture and we can give you a quick death. Wu Xiao said. No, unless you promise to spare my life, I will give you the chaos ancient scroll and all my treasures. Otherwise, you can only take my treasures. Don't even think about taking the chaos ancient scroll. Lu Ming said. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo's eyes lit up. What do we do? Wu Bo sent a voice transmission to Wu Xiao. Pretend to agree to give him 2 minutes to engrave the ancient chaos scripture into the jade talisman. He's severely injured and won't recover for a few days. He won't be able to play any tricks in a few minutes. Wu Xiao sent a voice transmission to Wu Bo, and the two of them nodded silently. Alright, we promise not to kill you. You can engrave the ancient chaos scripture into the jade talisman. Wu Xiao said. Do you think he'll believe you? Swear a blood oath. Lu Ming said. Kid, you're still negotiating with us. You should understand your situation. You're not qualified to negotiate with us. If you keep talking nonsense, well, just give up the chaos ancient scroll and kill you right now. Your treasures will still be ours. Wu Xiao said coldly. Lu Ming, hurry up and inscribe it. We don't have time to waste on you. Wu Bo shouted coldly, his killing intent growing colder and colder. Alright, I hope you keep your word. Lu Ming said, pretending to be helpless. He took out a jade talisman and started to inscribe it. Very soon, 2 minutes had passed but Lu Ming was still inscribing. Kid, why are you so slow? You better not play any tricks. Wu Xiao said coldly. The Chaos Ancient Scripture is the ancient scripture of the Chaos Emperor. It is extremely profound. How can it be so easy to inscribe? If you want an incomplete ancient scripture, one will give it to you now. Lu Ming pursed his lips in disdain. Lu Ming, well, give you 3 more minutes. If you're still not done in 3 minutes, don't blame us for being merciless. Wu Xiao said coldly. He was still worried and felt that he could not delay any longer. Lu Ming continued to inscribe. Very quickly, 3 minutes had passed. Alright, I'm done. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Then, he waved his hand and the jade talisman flew towards Wu Xiao. Wu Xiao was ecstatic. He reached out to take it and quickly checked it. With one look, Wu Xiao was stunned, and then revealed a look of fury. It's empty. Lu Ming, how dare you lie to us, Wu Xiao roared. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's figure suddenly dashed out at an astonishing speed. Behind Lu Ming, a pair of wings flapped rapidly. He charged straight into the passage and out of the cave. Damn it, chase! You're looking for death. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo were furious and chased after Lu Ming. The 3 of them were extremely fast. They rushed out of the cave in an instant and flew into the distance. However, Lu Ming's speed was extremely fast. Although Wu Xiao and Wu Bo tried their best, they could not catch up to Lu Ming at all. Damn it, why does he still have energy left? Wu Xiao and Wu Bo roared. The 2 of them had joined forces to launch a surprise attack earlier, and their power was so astonishing that even the other 2-star great emperors would have died without a doubt. It was already a miracle that Lu Ming did not die. They thought that Lu Ming must have been severely injured and would not have the energy to escape. They did not expect that Lu Ming could still burst out with such a shocking speed. In fact, Lu Ming's injuries were not as serious as they had thought. Lu Ming's current physical body was already extremely powerful. His defense and vitality were astonishingly strong. At the same time, Lu Ming did not have much trust in Wuxia and Wu Bo secretly. Lu Ming had been circulating the imperishable golden body at all times, making his body as hard as a divine weapon. The inextinguishable golden body coupled with his originally strong physical body had an astonishing defense. Even if Wuxia and Wu Bo suddenly launched a surprise attack and Lu Ming was severely injured, it was not to the point where he could not retaliate. In addition, Lu Ming had deliberately wasted time by talking nonsense with the other party. He had circulated the indestructible ancient scroll to heal his injuries with all his might. Lu Ming's injuries had already recovered a lot. Just now, Lu Ming had pretended to inscribe the ancient chaos scripture and handed the jade talismans to the other party. As expected, Wuxia and Wu Bo were overjoyed and relaxed. Lu Ming took the opportunity to make a sudden move and successfully escaped. Lu Ming, you can't escape. I've caught up to you, and am going to tear you into pieces. Wuxia roared. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered. He spread his six-feathered wings and flew at top speed. At the same time, the fallen star bow appeared in his hand. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 9-colored arrows flew toward Wuxia and Wu Bo. The two of them could only launch attacks to block the arrows. With their strength, although they could block the 9-colored arrows, it was inevitable that their bodies would be blocked, and their speed would be slowed down. Lu Ming took the opportunity to distance himself quickly. The distance between the two of them was greatly widened. Chapter 23:47. As Lu Ming flew, he attacked with the fallen star bow. The falling star bow's attack range was extremely far. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo's figures were blocked. Lu Ming took the opportunity to fly forward for a while, increasing the distance between the two of them. 1. Lu Ming will remember what happened today. 111 Keep your heads for now. 111 Take them back with my own hands in the future. A cold voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. Lu Ming had to kill Wu Xiao and Wu Bo. Damn it! Wu Bo and Wu Xiao were both extremely anxious. They knew that Lu Ming was not just saying it. He would definitely do it. Most importantly, given Lu Ming's talent, he would definitely be able to do it in the future. There was no doubt about it. It would not be long before Lu Ming's combat strength surpassed theirs. Not to mention Lu Ming's talent, even the power behind Lu Ming was extremely terrifying. The Lan family's incident had long spread to all parts of the Heaven Realm, making everyone aware of Lu Ming's powerful abilities. Any one of the Celestial the Arch behind Lu Ming could kill them. Therefore, he must not let Lu Ming leave. At that moment, the two of them felt a little regretful. They did not regret attacking Lu Ming. Instead, they regretted that they were too confident and gave Lu Ming too much time after they attacked. To deal with a person like Lu Ming, once he made a move, he had to kill him with a thunderous momentum. Any delay would cause unforeseen circumstances. They had given Lu Ming a few minutes and he had escaped right under their noses. Unfortunately, it was too late for them to realize it now. Wu Xiao and Wu Bo unleashed all their strength and chased after Lu Ming, biting him tightly and not letting go. Lu Ming was definitely injured and could not hold on for long. As time passed, they would definitely catch up to him. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this time, 2 more arrows were shot at them, and they could only wave their hands to block the arrows. As a result, their figures were blocked again and the distance between them and Lu Ming was greatly widened. Damn it, damn it! The two of them roared in their hearts and chased after him madly. However, they could not change the fact that the distance between them and Lu Ming was increasing. Just like that, after Lu Ming shot a few arrows, they had already flown out of this scorching land and arrived at a more normal place. This place had beautiful mountains and clear waters, and peaks were everywhere. After arriving at this place, Lu Ming rushed down to the ground and ran along the mountain forest. Not long after, Wuxia and Wu Bo completely lost track of Lu Ming. Damn it! Wuxia and Wu Bo stopped on a mountain peak and let out a beast-like roar. They slammed their palms randomly, and the terrifying palm prints bombarded the mountain peak, shaking the mountain and sending gravel flying. At this moment, Lu Ming had already entered a hidden cave and went deep underground. He walked along the ground and there was not a trace of aura coming from his body. Pfft! As he moved forward, Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Although his defense was astonishing and his vitality was extremely strong, Wu Xiao and Wu Bo were two-star Great Emperor realm existences after all. Their combined attack was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming's injuries were still very serious. He had used all his strength to draw the fallen star bow continuously, so his injuries had naturally worsened. However, it didn't matter. With the profoundness of the indestructible ancient scroll, no matter how serious his injuries were, it didn't matter. Deep underground, Lu Ming kept moving forward. He had no idea how far he had traveled. Then, he entered the mountain and river diagram and began to circulate the indestructible ancient scroll to heal his injuries. Lu Ming's injuries were recovering at an alarming rate. In the distance, Wu Xiao and Wu Bo were frantically looking for Lu Ming. Lu Ming must be hiding somewhere to recuperate. We must find him and kill him. Wu Xiao roared. If they did not kill Lu Ming, the best ending for them would be to hide on the Void God Island. Once they returned to the Heaven Realm, they would definitely be killed by the Celestial the Arch behind Lu Ming. Therefore, Lu Ming must die. Time passed day by day. 3 days later, Lu Ming's injuries had fully recovered and he was at his peak. Then, with a thought, a huge cauldron appeared between his brows and landed in front of him. It was the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron, which contained liquid fire. Liquid fire can be said to be a top-notch treasure for tempering the body. If I can refine this liquid fire, 111 definitely be able to make a breakthrough in the Seven Gods' mysterious technique. Lu Ming muttered. He then controlled the world energy and rolled out a ball of liquid fire. Chi chi chi. The liquid fire had an astonishingly high temperature. Even the power of the world was about to burn, making sizzling sounds. Lu Ming withdrew the world energy and grabbed the liquid fire in his hand. Chi chi chi. Immediately, a burning smell came from Lu Ming's palm, as if it was going to burn his palm. However, the strength of Lu Ming's physical body was extremely shocking. Coupled with the imperishable golden body, it was comparable to an ordinary Great Emperor weapon. At the same time, he circulated the indestructible ancient scroll. Although Lu Ming's body was burning, he was recovering at an even faster speed. Next, Lu Ming controlled the power of the world and spread out the liquid fire, enveloping Lu Ming's entire body evenly. Lu Ming began to circulate the Seven Gods' mysterious technique to refine the liquid flame. With the power of the liquid flame, he began to temper his body. 3 days later, the liquid fire was refined by Lu Ming. His physical body had improved but he had not broken through the bottleneck. This way of cultivation is too slow and too gentle. I'll just enter the cauldron. With the strength of my body, I should be able to withstand it. Lu Ming muttered, his eyes flashing with madness. He planned to enter the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron directly and soak in the liquid fire. This way, his cultivation speed would definitely increase greatly. It could be said that this was an extremely crazy idea. If others were to know about it, they would be scared to death. The liquid fire could even burn a sovereign weapon, so any body that entered it would probably be burned to death. Of course, this was only for ordinary people, not Lu Ming. With the strength of his body and the recovery ability of the indestructible ancient scroll, he could completely withstand it. Lu Ming put his thoughts into action immediately. He entered the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Of course, he had already taken off his clothes. With a plop, Lu Ming's entire body was submerged in the liquid fire. At that moment, waves of tearing pain enveloped Lu Ming's entire body. Although Lu Ming's physical body was very strong, the liquid fire was still slowly burning him, trying to burn him to ashes. Lu Ming immediately circulated the indestructible ancient scroll and his physical body began to recover rapidly. However, the pain did not seem to ease at all. Lu Ming focused his mind and cleared his mind of distracting thoughts. He focused on circulating the seven gods' mysterious technique and began to cultivate. The liquid flame contained a huge amount of energy essence. Lu Ming was constantly absorbing it. At the same time, the burning of the liquid flame could also help to temper his body. Under the dual effects, Lu Ming's physical body was improving rapidly. Half a month later, his seven gods' mysterious technique finally broke through and reached the 5th level. After breaking through to the 5th level, Lu Ming's physical strength increased rapidly. At this stage, Lu Ming's physical strength alone was comparable to a great emperor. This was a qualitative leap. His body was shockingly strong, and it was even harder than a normal emperor weapon. He could feel that his body was filled with endless power. Chapter 2348. His seven gods' mysterious technique had broken through to the 5th stage and his physical strength had entered the great emperor realm. Lu Ming's physical qualities had improved in all aspects. Every cell in his body had been tempered and was extremely powerful. Honestly speaking, with his physical body at this level, even without the indestructible ancient scroll, his life force was still extremely strong. Even if his body were to be torn apart, he would be able to recover very quickly. Now, even if Lu Ming did not circulate the indestructible ancient scroll, he could withstand the burning of the liquid fire. Continue. Lu Ming muttered and continued to circulate the seven gods' mysterious technique to refine the liquid flame. There was still some liquid fire in the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Lu Ming planned to refine all of them before he came out of seclusion. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. Lu Ming had refined all the remaining liquid fire and his seven gods' mysterious technique had already reached the peak of the early 5th stage. However, without breaking through to the middle stage of the 5th level, the improvement of the physical body was limited. Only by breaking through the bottleneck of the seven gods' mysterious technique could one's strength soar. If one broke through from the primary stage to the middle stage, their strength would increase dramatically. If one did not break through, even if one was at the peak of the primary stage, the increase in strength would be limited. However, compared to before the breakthrough of the seven gods' mysterious technique, Lu Ming's abilities had improved greatly. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief and ended his cultivation. He walked out of the divine nine-dragon cauldron, which shrank rapidly and flew into the space between Lu Ming's eyebrows, disappearing. With my current battle prowess, I should be able to kill 2-star Great Emperor Realm experts. Lu Ming muttered. Before his breakthrough, he could suppress an ordinary 1-star Great Emperor with all his techniques. Now that his seven gods' mysterious technique had reached the peak of the early 5th level, he could kill a 1-star Great Emperor with his physical strength alone. He could even kill a 1-star Great Emperor who had mastered the most powerful Great Tao. Combined with his world energy and various laws, he was now completely capable of killing a 2-star Great Emperor. Wuxia, Wubo, don't let me see you. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Thereafter, Lu Ming exited the mountain and river diagram and went to the ground. After reaching the surface, Lu Ming headed deep into the Void God Island. Lu Ming did not deliberately look for Wuxia and Wubo. The Void God Island was too big. A month had passed. Who knew where the two of them had gone? The laws here are so gentle, and it seems to be especially easy to comprehend. All of a sudden, Lu Ming stopped in his tracks, a look of surprise on his face. He sensed it carefully. Indeed, the laws here were very gentle and easy to comprehend. He didn't have this feeling when he was in the land of fire in the desert, but now that he was in this normal land, this feeling was very obvious. Could it be because of that terrifying pressure? Lu Ming made a guess and felt that it was very likely. That terrifying pressure was supreme. Even the heavenly Tao would be suppressed, let alone the laws. Under that kind of pressure, the laws became extremely docile and extremely easy to comprehend. It was like taming a horse. In the outside world, laws were like wild horses with violent personalities. They were extremely difficult to tame, and naturally difficult to comprehend. But here, laws were like docile domestic horses. They were easy to come into contact with, easy to tame, and naturally easy to comprehend. Holy land, this is a holy land for comprehending the laws. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a fiery glow. Lu Ming took a moment to gain some insight and realized that the speed of comprehending the laws here was at least tens to hundreds of times faster than the outside world. For cultivators below the Great Emperor realm, this was the supreme holy land for cultivation. Unfortunately, the pressure here was too strong. True emperors couldn't enter, but great emperors could. However, great emperors had already passed the stage of comprehending the laws. This place could not be more suitable for Lu Ming. The path that Lu Ming wanted to take was different from the rest. He wanted to comprehend all the other ultimate maxims before breaking through to the Great Emperor realm. If it was outside, it would have taken a long time, but here, time was saved greatly. To Lu Ming, this was a great opportunity. Let's find a place and go into closed-door cultivation to comprehend it. Lu Ming revealed an excited look. In Lu Ming's heart, the fragments of the great Tao and the heavenly Tao soldiers were not as important as comprehending the laws. Lu Ming had no use for those things for the time being. However, comprehending the laws would greatly improve his strength. Lu Ming really wanted to know how amazing it would be if he could fully comprehend all 10 types of ultimate maxims and evolve them into great Taos. Buzz! Lu Ming moved and flew forward. He planned to find a quiet place with rich origin qi to meditate in seclusion. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. It did not take long for him to fly hundreds of thousands of miles. As Lu Ming flew past a mountain range, 2 streaks of light suddenly flew out from the mountain range. The speed of the rainbow was extremely fast. In a flash, 2 figures appeared, one in front and one behind, surrounding Lu Ming in the middle. Wuxia, Wu Bo. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly, revealing a strange expression. He did not expect that he would run into Wuxia and Wu Bo not long after he came out of seclusion. What a coincidence! Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you're really unlucky. The 2 of us were lying in ambush here to try our luck and see if we could bump into you. We didn't expect you to really go in this direction. Wu Xiao laughed, but his voice was cold and his eyes were filled with killing intent. They had been searching for Lu Ming for more than half a month but to no avail. They decided to wait here to see if they could bump into Lu Ming. They did not expect to really bump into him. Is that so? Lu Ming said indifferently. However, Wu Xiao and Wu Bo did not take action immediately. They looked at Lu Ming cautiously. They had their misgivings about Lu Ming's puppet. Back then, they had witnessed the power of the puppet with their own eyes. They were afraid that Lu Ming would fill the puppet with energy again in the past month. It shouldn't be possible. That kind of puppet is so powerful. The energy it needs must be shocking. I don't believe he can replenish it so quickly. Wu Xiao sent a voice transmission to Wu Bo, his eyes filled with greed. Not bad. If that puppet could be used, I'm afraid he would have already taken action. Wu Bo also said. Lu Ming had too many treasures on him. They could not give up. Their hearts were completely occupied by greed. However, they did not make a move immediately. Instead, they slowly approached Lu Ming. Boom! The aura on Lu Ming's body burst out completely and 9 types of laws revolved around him. He still had the aura of a peak true emperor. Kill! Lu Ming rushed toward Wuxia. Lu Ming, no matter how strong you are, you're only a true emperor. How dare you fight with me? Die! Wuxia shouted coldly, a vicious glint flashing in his eyes. His palms turned transparent as he charged towards Lu Ming. A transparent palm shot towards Lu Ming, and Lu Ming threw a punch at the same time. Seeing that their fists were about to collide, Wuxia was overjoyed. Lu Ming did not use a puppet. He was not afraid at all since he was relying on his own abilities. Chapter 2349. No matter how strong Lu Ming's combat strength was, he was only at the true emperor realm. Wuxia had full confidence that he could suppress Lu Ming and even kill him. Lu Ming actually dared to confront him head-on. He was overestimating himself. Wuxia raised his strength to the maximum. He wanted to severely injure Lu Ming with one move. Boom! Their fists and palms clashed together. Boom! Kacha! When their fists and palms collided, an earth-shattering boom erupted. The boom was accompanied by the sound of bones breaking. Your strength! Wuxia's body retreated rapidly as he roared in disbelief. He was actually no match for Lu Ming in a head-on clash. The bones in his hand were broken by Lu Ming's punch, and the terrifying power was like an avalanche, forcing him to retreat. He was in disbelief. Lu Ming was only at the true emperor realm and his cultivation level had not increased. It had only been a month. How could his strength have increased so much? His mind was unable to process this for a while. Lu Ming would not miss such an opportunity. Taking advantage of Wuxia's momentary daze, Lu Ming launched a sure-kill attack. Buzz! All the muscles and bones in Lu Ming's body trembled rapidly. In an instant, it trembled at least 1 billion times. In an instant, 1 billion times. This was a terrifying frequency. Lu Ming's muscles and space trembled, producing a terrifying driving force. Lu Ming's figure instantly rushed toward Wuxia at an extremely fast speed. Boom! Then, Lu Ming threw a punch. Lu Ming had used all his strength in this punch. The fist shattered the space and pierced through the void, blasting towards the small world in Wuxia's dantian. Not good. Wuxia's hair stood on end, and his liver and guts were torn apart. At this moment, he felt the threat of death. However, it was too late for him to counterattack. He could only retreat quickly and set up layers of defense on the surface of his body. Boom! Lu Ming's fist landed accurately on Wuxia's dantian. The terrifying force rushed into Wuxia's dantian. The power of great Daos that enveloped Wuxia's body was torn apart by Lu Ming's power in an instant. The surging power bombarded Wuxia's small world. Boom! 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 Wuxia's small world started to shake violently, and many cracks appeared on it. Then, the entire small world exploded. Wuxia's body flew out like a meteorite and crashed into a mountain, creating a huge crater. Wuxia lay in the pit and shouted crazily. No, 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 Wuxia shouted as he vomited blood. He could not accept that his small world had been shattered by Lu Ming. His small world had been shattered, and his cultivation was completely crippled. Moreover, he didn't have long to live. On the other side, Wu Bo was also dumbfounded. From the fight between Lu Ming and Wuxia to the moment Wuxia was crippled, it had only happened in an instant. The time was very short, and in an instant, Wuxia was crippled. Now, it's your turn. Lu Ming looked at Wu Bo coldly. Earlier, he had intentionally revealed his true emperor cultivation to make Wuxia and Wu Bo careless. This way, he could cripple one of them in an instant. If Wu Xiu and Wu Bo joined forces, Lu Ming was confident that he could defeat them. However, it would be difficult to kill both of them. However, now that Lu Ming had crippled one of them, it was much easier to deal with the other. Buzz! Lu Ming's muscles trembled and his body charged towards Wu Bo Dai. Wu Bo was prepared for this. He let out a furious roar and unleashed his full power. He struck out with his palm continuously. The transparent palm pierced through the void and headed toward Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming kept swinging his fists. In an instant, he had thrown hundreds of punches, clashing with Wu Bo. The two of them exchanged hundreds of blows in an instant. Then, Wu Bo's body was sent flying back, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. His palms and arms were completely deformed. The bones inside had been shattered by Lu Ming. Wu Bo's face was deathly pale. He gritted his teeth, turned around, and ran. Right now, he could no longer care about Wu Xiu. You want to leave? Can you? Lu Ming said coldly. His muscles and bones trembled. With the enhancement of the 6 feathered wings, Lu Ming's speed had completely surpassed Wu Bo's. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming caught up to Wu Bo and threw a punch. Wu Bo's arm had been broken, and he was unable to defend himself at all. He wanted to dodge, but his speed was not as fast as Lu Ming's. The punch landed on his head, and his head exploded like a watermelon. His soul was also crushed into ashes by the force of Lu Ming's fist. Wu Bo, dead. Pfft! Lu Ming stretched out his claws and grabbed Wu Bo's dantian. He took out a piece of the core of the world from his dantian. The realm core of a great emperor was a rare treasure that contained powerful energy. Then, Lu Ming kept Wu Bo's storage ring and walked toward Wu Xiu. Lu Ming, you'll die a horrible death. One curse you to die a horrible death. Wu Xiu knew that he was going to die, so he started to curse madly. Hee, what a joke. All of this is just your own doing. Originally, we could have split the liquid fire equally. Lu Ming sneered. Speaking of which, Lu Ming was their savior. Without him, they would have been torn to pieces by those crows when they first entered the Void Island. However, not only were Wu Xiu and Wu Bo not grateful to Lu Ming, but they were also greedy for his treasures and attacked him. Now that they had been defeated by Lu Ming, they were cursing him with resentment. Wasn't that ridiculous? Ha ha ha. Wu Xiu laughed out loud, a hint of regret flashing across his eyes. Lu Ming was right. They had brought this upon themselves. If they were not greedy, they would not have ended up like this. Not only would they not, but they would also get some liquid fire. They had brought this upon themselves. With a punch, a fist force drowned Wu Xiu. The fist force disappeared, and Wu Xiu also turned into ashes. The punch earlier had shattered Wu Xiu's small world and destroyed his world core at the same time. Lu Ming felt that it was a pity. After putting away Wu Xiu's storage ring, Lu Ming soared into the sky and left the place. Lu Ming kept flying and only stopped after flying for 1,000,000 miles. The origin qi here was very rich. Lu Ming opened up a cave on a tall mountain peak. He flew into the cave and sealed the entrance. He sat cross-legged in the cave and began to comprehend the laws. Now, Lu Ming wanted to comprehend a new law. Which of the remaining 7 ultimate maxims should one comprehend first? Lu Ming started to think. The remaining 7 supreme laws were fate, spacetime, samsara, primordial chaos, nothingness, eternity, and karma. Of these 7, the strongest was, without question, the law of fate. However, Lu Ming had no intention of comprehending the law of fate for the time being. The law of fate was the most difficult to comprehend. Lu Ming planned to comprehend the other laws first and leave the law of fate as the last. After a while, Lu Ming made up his mind to study the primordial chaos laws first. The primordial chaos laws were very similar to the chaos laws. Lu Ming had already cultivated the chaos laws to the highest level. He would definitely be able to get twice the result with half the effort in comprehending the primordial chaos laws. Chapter 2350. Lu Ming planned to study the law of reincarnation after he had a certain level of mastery over the primordial chaos law. When Lu Ming first met the reincarnation emperor, he had experienced reincarnation and had a deep impression of the law of reincarnation. It was relatively easier for Lu Ming to comprehend these two types. After making up his mind, Lu Ming began to comprehend. His dantian glowed and the small world slowly emerged. Finally, it appeared above Lu Ming's head. The small world looked to be only 1 meter in size, but if one looked carefully, one could vaguely see the mountains and lakes. On a vast plain, an ancient tree of comprehension pierced through the clouds. Now, the path understanding ancient tree was almost 800 meters tall. Cultivating under the path understanding ancient tree would be very effective. Lu Ming's soul condensed in the small world and he sat cross-legged under the path understanding ancient tree. In this way, the small world and the outside world would be connected. The power of the law from the outside world would surge into Lu Ming's small world and the effect of the path understanding ancient tree would be put to play. In this way, Lu Ming's speed of comprehending the laws had greatly increased. In just a few days, Lu Ming's comprehension of the primordial chaos laws had already reached the beginner level. One of the reasons why he was so fast was that primordial chaos laws and chaos laws were extremely similar and had something in common. The second reason was that Lu Ming's current realm was high. He had already cultivated 9 types of laws to the 3rd realm and could fuse different ultimate maxims. This showed that Lu Ming's understanding and application of laws had reached an extremely profound realm. Therefore, Lu Ming's comprehension of other laws was much faster than before. With the combination of various advantages, Lu Ming's cultivation speed was very fast. As the days passed, Lu Ming's control of the primordial chaos laws rapidly improved. In just 2 months, Lu Ming had cultivated the primordial chaos laws to the 2nd realm. In the meantime, Lu Ming also tried to merge the primordial chaos laws with other ultimate maxims. Otherwise, he would have been even faster. Half a year later, Lu Ming had already comprehended the primordial chaos laws to the limit of the 2nd realm. At this moment, Lu Ming began to comprehend the law of reincarnation. Lu Ming's speed of comprehension slowed down as he comprehended 2 types of laws at the same time. At the same time, he had to try to integrate the different laws as he comprehended them. Even so, Lu Ming had cultivated the law of reincarnation to the 2nd realm after a year of seclusion. Moreover, the primordial chaos law and the reincarnation law could already be combined with other ultimate laws to form a new divine power technique. Lu Ming's strength had also improved greatly without using his physical body. After all, it was an ultimate maxim. Every time he comprehended an ultimate maxim and formed a divine power, Lu Ming's strength would increase by a large margin. Lu Ming was completely immersed in his cultivation and had forgotten everything. To him, cultivating here was his greatest opportunity. It could save him a lot of time. If he were to cultivate outside, the time he would need would be dozens of times more. A year here was equivalent to decades of bitter cultivation outside. Lu Ming had no intention of stopping. He continued to comprehend. Not far from where Lu Ming was in seclusion, 3 figures were fleeing at high speed. If Lu Ming were to see it, he would definitely be shocked. This was because one of the 3 was Emperor Formless. The other 2 were Huntian Emperor and Sky Fire Emperor. At this moment, they were being chased. All 3 of them were injured and their bodies were dyed red with blood. Sky Fire Emperor was especially pale and his breath was unstable. He was the most severely injured. The 3 of them flew at high speed, but there were some figures chasing them. The ones chasing them were the experts of the foreign races. "You won't be able to escape, you'll die." A non-human shouted from behind. "Let's go, don't stop. If we're lucky enough to meet a Heaven Realm expert, we might still be saved." Emperor Formless called out. He and Huntian Emperor had brought Skyfire Emperor with them as they flew at top speed. However, their speed had been reduced, and they were slowly being caught up by the non-human race. With one chasing and the other fleeing, they approached the area where Lu Ming was in seclusion. Kill. Behind them, there were a total of 5 foreign races. One of them was a 2-star Great Emperor, while the other 4 were 1-star Great Emperors. As for Emperor Formless and the other 3, they were all 1-star Great Emperors. At this moment, the 2-star Emperor was the fastest, and he quickly approached the 3 Emperors. A destructive light shot out of his third eye, which transformed into a sword that slashed toward the 3 Emperors. Emperor Formless had no choice but to stop. He unsheathed his sword and slashed. Clang! The 2 sword lights collided, and sword chi spread in all directions. Emperor Formless' body trembled violently as he was sent flying, his face pale. Although Emperor Formless had reached the peak of 1-star Great Emperor, he was still far from being a 2-star Great Emperor. "Go, you guys, hurry up and leave," Emperor Formless roared. "If you want to leave, none of you will be able to leave today," the 2-star Great Emperor coldly said as he launched another attack toward the Formless Emperor. "I'll help you," Huntian Great Emperor said. He charged toward Emperor Formless, and the 2 of them joined forces to fight. Even so, they were still no match for him and were forced to retreat. They were completely at a disadvantage. The 4 1-star Great Emperors of the other side had also arrived and surrounded them. They were in a desperate situation. "I didn't expect that the 3 of us would die here today." Emperor Formless and the other 2 looked at each other and sighed. However, they wouldn't just wait to be captured. Even if they had to risk their lives, they had to give it a try. At this moment, not far away, inside a mountain peak, Lu Ming sensed the movements outside and ended his cultivation. "There's a huge battle outside." "Wait, this aura," Lu Ming started to whisper and his eyes suddenly lit up. That was because there were 3 auras outside that Lu Ming was extremely familiar with. Immediately, 3 figures appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Emperor Formless, Emperor Huntian, and Emperor Skyfire. However, didn't Huntian Emperor and Skyfire Emperor use the World-Gazing Gate to send some emperors into the Heaven Realm to solve the problem of the alien race? Why would he appear here? Many thoughts emerged in Lu Ming's mind. However, there was no time for him to think too much at this moment. With a thought, Lu Ming's small world entered his dantian. His muscles trembled and he rushed out directly. Boom! The mountain rocks exploded, and crushed rocks flew everywhere. Lu Ming rushed out of the mountain peak and stood high in the sky. The commotion here naturally alerted Emperor Formless and the other 2, as well as the evil god tribe. Everyone could not help but look at Lu Ming. With a single glance, Emperor Formless, Huntian, and Skyfire were all stunned. Lu Ming. The 3 of them were completely dumbfounded. They did not expect to meet Lu Ming here. This was the Void God Island, and only great emperors could enter. They had actually bumped into Lu Ming here. Could it be that Lu Ming had already broken through to the Great Emperor realm? That was too fast. The 3 of them couldn't quite wrap their heads around it. Chapter 2351, Another Human. The eyes of the 5 evil god tribe emperors flashed with killing intent. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming released his aura. When everyone saw this, they were stunned again. This was because Lu Ming's aura was that of a true emperor. True emperor? When the 5 members of the evil god race saw this, they could not help but reveal looks of contempt. He was only a true emperor. Even if he could enter this place, how strong could his battle power be? One of you is here to die. One of the evil god race members sneered. The faces of Emperor Formless, Huntian, and Skyfire changed drastically. Lu Ming, let's go, let's go. Hurry up and leave, don't worry about us. Emperor Formless and the other two yelled in panic. Given Lu Ming's talent, he would have a bright future. They could not implicate him. However, Lu Ming looked relaxed. Long time no see, Deans. Lu Ming smiled and stepped forward, walking toward Emperor Notionless and the others. Lu Ming, hurry up and leave. Emperor Formless became even more anxious. It doesn't matter. It won't be too late to leave after I kill these foreign kinds. Lu Ming chuckled as if those alien races were lambs that he could kill at will. How arrogant. A true emperor wants to kill us? One think he's just bluffing. Let me kill him. A one-star great emperor from the evil god tribe stepped out and charged toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming stood there without moving. A cold glint flashed in the depths of his eyes. Doubt flashed through the eyes of Emperor Formless and the other two. They knew that Lu Ming would not be so arrogant. He must have something to rely on. Could it be that puppet? A thought flashed through Emperor Formless' mind. He had seen Lu Ming use that puppet to defeat the great emperor of the He clan. Die. The evil god tribe's arch held a mace in his hand and smashed it toward Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and his body burst out. He appeared in front of the other party in an instant and threw a punch. Bang! Under this punch, the other party did not have the slightest ability to resist. He was directly torn apart by Lu Ming's violent power, and his body exploded into pieces. One punch, instant kill. Emperor Formless, Huntian, and Sky Era were all stunned. The other members of the evil god tribe were stunned as well. A one-star great emperor was killed in a second by a single punch. What kind of battle strength was this? Even an ordinary two-star great emperor couldn't do that. Kill, die. Lu Ming bellowed and increased his speed to the maximum, charging toward the remaining evil god tribe members. In the blink of an eye, he was close to the other party. Join hands, kill him. The two-star great emperor from the evil god tribe roared and attacked Lu Ming. The other evil god tribe members also launched their attacks. Do it. Notionless Emperor, Skyfire Emperor, and Huntian Emperor also made their moves. Their attacks were directed at the two-star Great Emperor Realm Evil God tribe member, preventing him from attacking Lu Ming with all his might. Boom! 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 Lu Ming continued to punch out. The terrifying fist force brought about an intense spatial storm that drowned the few members of the evil god race. Bang! 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 The three one-star Great Emperor Realm experts of the evil god race exploded, leaving nothing behind. How is that possible? The remaining two-star Great Emperor from the evil god race roared in disbelief. A true emperor could kill a great emperor as easily as chopping vegetables. How was that possible? Of course, this was just Lu Ming's cover-up. His law system was only at the true emperor realm, but his physical body was already at the great emperor realm. Otherwise, no matter how powerful a true emperor was, he wouldn't be able to kill a great emperor so easily. Of course, this was Lu Ming's intention. He had deliberately concealed his aura to shock the evil god tribe. In this way, their combat strength would naturally be weakened. Kill. Lu Ming unleashed his full power and charged toward the two-star Great Emperor Realm Evil God tribe member. The fate of the evil god tribe was already decided. Lu Ming alone was enough to kill him. With the help of Emperor Notionless, Huntian Emperor, and Skyfire Emperor, this evil god tribe member would not be able to escape even if he wanted to. Lu Ming kept swinging his fists. Nine-colored radiance glowed. He was like an invincible god of war, completely crushing his opponent. Bang! Bang! The terrifying fist force landed on the evil god tribe member's body, breaking his bones and breaking his tendons before his body finally exploded. The 5 members of the evil god race were all killed in a flash after Lu Ming made his move. This, Emperor Formless, Sky Era Emperor, and Huntian Emperor looked at each other with shock in their eyes. Previously, they had thought that Lu Ming had something to rely on and a powerful external force, which was why he was so calm. They had never expected that Lu Ming had killed 5 members of the evil god race with his own combat strength. More importantly, he had completely crushed them. He had killed 5 members of RHE evil god race as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Compared to the time when he killed Wuxia and Wu Bo, Lu Ming's abilities had improved a little. The law of reincarnation and the law of primordial chaos had already reached a high level of mastery, so it was naturally much easier for him to kill an ordinary 2-star Great Emperor when he fused them together. 3 Deans, how have you been? Lu Ming walked over and cupped his fists. Back then, Wuxiang, Tianhua, and Huntian, the 3 great emperors, established the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy with the purpose of cultivating the geniuses of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. They were selfless. Back then, Lu Ming had also received a lot of help in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Otherwise, he would not have achieved what he had today. Therefore, he still respected the 3 Deans. Lu Ming, one didn't expect that in just over 20 years, your combat strength has already reached this level. You're already far above us. Huntian Emperor sighed. 20 years passed in the blink of an eye for a great emperor. Back when they first met Lu Ming, although he was very talented, he was just a young fellow in their eyes. He was still a long way from RHE Great Emperor realm. However, Lu Ming's ability was already above them. They could not imagine it even in their dreams. They sighed. Of course, they were also happy for Lu Ming's achievements. If not for the guidance of the 3 Deans, Lu Ming would not have his achievements today. Lu Ming smiled and said, Deans, where did you appear when you entered the realm-looking gate? Why are you here on RHE Void God Island? Lu Ming asked. We're lucky. After we entered the Overlord Gate, we happened to appear in the Tai Ching Heaven region. Those great emperor alien races were also killed by RHE strong cultivators of the Tai Ching Heaven region. Huntian Emperor explained. What happened next was simple. Emperor Formless found Chaos Heaven and Heavenly Fire, and the 3 of them cultivated together. When the Void God Island appeared, the 3 of them came together to explore. When we first entered this place, our luck was pretty good. We also obtained some fortuitous encounters and treasures. However, some time ago, when we were about to head to RHE Void Ancient Pagoda, we encountered these foreign races and were hunted down by them. Emperor Formless continued to explain. Void God Pagoda? Lu Ming was stunned and somewhat curious. This was the first time he had heard of this name. Chapter 2352, Void God Pagoda, an ancient building on the Void God Island. Seeing that Lu Ming did not know, Emperor Formless began to explain. The Void God Island was an unparalleled Taoist field. Naturally, there were many ancient ruins and buildings on it. Many of them were left behind by the disciples of that unparalleled existence, and they usually contained some treasures. As for the Void Divine Tower, it was a famous building within a large region. It was discovered by experts from both the evil god race and heaven realm at the same time. Right now, both sides were fighting for the control of the Void Divine Tower. When many people heard the news, they all rushed over to the Void Divine Tower. Emperor Formless and the other 2 had also rushed there after hearing the news. They didn't expect to encounter the evil god tribe on the way and be chased all the way. I see. Lu Ming nodded after hearing that. To be honest, he had been on the Void God Island for more than a year, yet he had never seen the buildings here. He could not help but feel curious. Lu Ming, do you want to go and take a look together? There might be many treasures inside. There might even be Heaven Dao soldiers. Emperor Wuxiang said. At the mention of the Heaven Dao soldier, even Emperor Wuxiang and the others' eyes burned with passion. The Heaven Dao soldier was too precious. Even the celestial emperor would fight for it, so how could ordinary people not be tempted? Alright, I've been in closed-door cultivation all this time. I'm thinking of going around. Lu Ming nodded. Emperor Formless and the other two immediately led the way. The group of four headed in the direction of the Void God Pagoda. And NBSP, their luck was pretty good, and they didn't encounter the evil god race for the next few days. 3 days later, they arrived at their destination. From far away, they could see a huge tower that seemed to be made of bronze. It pierced through the sky and reached into the clouds. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived at the bottom of the giant tower, they discovered a large number of people. On one side, there were over 100 people from the evil god tribe. On one side, there were more than 100 heaven realm beings. These were all great emperor realm existences. At this moment, the two sides were in a confrontation, swords drawn and bows bent. The atmosphere was extremely oppressive. Lu Ming's group of four swept their gazes around and discovered that the bottom of the giant tower was full of potholes. They were all traces left behind by the great battle. They even saw the corpses of the evil god tribe and heaven realm beings who had died in battle. It was obvious that a great battle had just taken place here not long ago. Many people's eyes were on Lu Ming's group of four when they arrived. Lu Ming, it's you. A cold voice sounded. Lu Ming looked over and realized that there was a familiar person in the crowd. Lan Mo was a great emperor from the Lan family. He had been defeated by Lu Ming in the Two World Cities drill ground. There were a few other people beside Lan Mo. Their gazes were cold as they looked at Lu Ming. There was a faint killing intent in their eyes. Are they all from the Lan family? Lu Ming made a guess. The moment they saw him, they revealed killing intent. Lu Ming guessed that those people were most likely from the Lan family or the Yen family. Lu Ming ignored them and flew toward the Heaven Realms crowd with Emperor Notionless and the other two to join them. Some people were overjoyed. After all, the more people there were from the Heaven Realm, the stronger they would be. Lu Ming sized it up and realized that there was a huge door on the giant tower. The door was closed and did not open. Lu Ming and the rest asked around and found out that there were many arrays around the gate. Previously, both parties had attacked the giant tower, but they did not manage to break through. Later on, a conflict broke out between the Heaven Realm and the evil god tribe, and both sides fought a great battle. However, the strength of both sides was similar, and there was no clear winner. Both sides suffered losses. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Not long after Lu Ming and the others arrived, the sound of air being torn rang out again. A few figures flew over. They were the people from the evil god tribe. It was obvious that both sides had heard the news and rushed over. As time passed, the number of people on both sides increased, but they did not make a move. Both sides had similar strength, so they had their concerns. Just like that, the tense atmosphere continued for 7 to 8 days. Everyone from the Heaven Realm, if this continues, none of us will be able to enter this giant tower. Why don't we join forces and break the gate of this giant tower first? After we enter the giant tower, we'll decide the winner. At this moment, a burly member of the evil god race stepped out and spoke. On the side of the heavenly realm, many people looked at each other, seeking the other's opinion. I think it's feasible. It's just a waste of time. It won't be too late to kill the alien races after we enter the tower. A blue-robed middle-aged man said. This man was an expert from the Lan family. It was said that he had reached the 3-star Great Emperor realm and was one of the top experts in the Heaven realm. I also think it's feasible. Another 3-star Emperor said. Soon, both sides came to an agreement. They were going to break the door of the giant tower first, then talk about other things. Both sides took up positions and started to attack from a distance. Whoosh! 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 One attack after another broke through the void and blasted toward the gate of the giant tower. There were a few hundred great emperors on both sides. The momentum of their combined attack was terrifying. A few hundred attacks bombarded the gate. However, just as these attacks were about to land on the gate glowed and strange patterns appeared on it, forming a light shield. Boom! Boom! When the attacks landed on the light shield, they were all blocked by it. The light shield trembled continuously, but it was not broken. Continue! Someone shouted, and everyone continued to attack. On the evil god tribe side, almost all of them were using their third eye to launch attacks. Beams of destructive light transformed into all sorts of weapons and beasts that pounced toward the door. On the side of the Heaven realm, there were all kinds of sacred arts. The great Tao interweaved, dazzling and colorful. There were all kinds of divine abilities, dazzling Lu Ming. The formation was also shocking. So many great emperors had attacked it together, but it hadn't been broken. However, the light shield was shaking violently. It didn't look like it could last much longer. Gotcha! A moment later, cracks began to appear on the light shield. Boom! In the end, the light shield exploded. The attacks landed on the gate of the giant tower. Boom! 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 The door shook, but strangely, despite so many attacks, the giant tower did not shake at all. It was as steady as a rock. Creak! Then, under the barrage of attacks, the door slowly opened. A moment later, the door was fully opened. However, behind the door, it was a blur. He couldn't see what was behind the door at all. Enter! Someone from the evil god tribe shouted and rushed in. Let's go in too. The Heaven realm's people roared and rose into the air one after another, rushing towards the gate. Lu Ming and the rest mixed in with the crowd and rushed in. Hundreds of people rushed into the gate in an instant. After Lu Ming and the rest rushed into the main door, they felt as if they had passed through a misty wall and appeared in an empty space. Gotcha! After they entered, the door automatically closed. Chapter 2353, This place is. After everyone entered the gate of the giant tower, they looked ahead and were all shocked. This was because the situation here was very different from what they had imagined. Originally, they thought that they would enter the interior of the giant tower after entering the gate, but when they looked ahead, they saw that it was extremely empty. In front of him, there were mountains and on the peaks, there were many huge palaces. This place didn't look like the interior of a giant tower at all. Instead, it looked like a paradise. There's definitely a great opportunity here. Many people's eyes lit up. Look, what's that? Suddenly, someone pointed at the sky and exclaimed. Everyone looked up at the sky and saw that there were lines of runes in the sky. Those runes were like runes, emitting a bright light. Then, a teenager appeared. There's actually someone here. No, this person isn't a physical body. He's an illusionary body. The appearance of this youth shocked many people. However, they also discovered that this youth wasn't a real entity and didn't have any life aura. Ha ha ha, it's been so many years since someone came in. Now, someone finally came in. Finally, there's something to play. The teenager widened his eyes and looked at Lu Ming and the rest. He seemed to be unusually excited. Who are you? Someone asked. Me? I'm the formation spirit of this place. Don't tell me you didn't notice that this place is enveloped by a great formation? The young man smiled as his eyes darted around. He seemed to be even more interested. Formation spirit. Many people's hearts moved and they were very surprised. Only some extremely profound and powerful array techniques, and after a long period of time, could give birth to an array spirit. The array spirit had intelligence and was no different from ordinary people. I'll tell you something. Once you enter this place, you won't be able to leave. The young man continued to smile. Everyone's expression changed. Can't get out? What did that mean? What do you mean? An expert from the evil god tribe spoke with an ugly expression. If you can't get out, then you can't. You'll have to stay here for the rest of your lives. The young man pouted and explained again. I don't believe it. Since we can come in, we can also go out. As long as we break this formation, it will be fine. The 3-star Great Emperor of the Lan family shouted. Many people's eyes lit up. That's right. If they could break through the formation and enter, they could also break through the formation and leave. Everyone, let's work together to break through the formation and open the gate. The Lan family's 3-star Great Emperor called out. Good, attack. The others responded. Boom. Boom. On the Heaven Realm side, more than 100 Great Emperor Realm experts attacked at the same time. Beams of brilliant light shot towards the door. This time, the door also shone with light, and a light screen appeared. All the attacks landed on the light screen, but it was like a sea of mud. There was no movement at all, not even a ripple. Everyone's faces turned ugly. Previously, when they were outside, they could at least cause the light shield to shake violently when they attacked the door. It was not like now, where there were no waves at all. Continue. The 3-star Great Emperor from the Lan clan roared. Everyone continued to attack, but the result was the same. There was no change at all. Everyone, let's attack together. Otherwise, you'll all have to stay here. Some people looked at the experts from the evil god tribe. Alright, let's attack together. The expert from the evil god tribe nodded. In the face of such a situation, both sides had no choice but to join forces once again. In the sky, the young man was smiling as he looked on with a slight disdain. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. This time, the evil god race and the Heaven Realm beings attacked together, and their momentum was extremely shocking. However, the result was the same as before. Their attacks didn't cause any ripples on the light screen. There wasn't even a ripple. Continue. Someone shouted. They kept attacking, but it was useless. It's useless. Lu Ming's expression was a little ugly and he stopped. How did this happen? Someone shouted in disbelief. Just now, they had broken through the formation outside, opened the door, and rushed in. Why couldn't they do it now? I'm telling you, I did it on purpose when you broke the formation outside. The power of the formation back then was only 1% of what it is now. The formation here can't be broken without the cultivation of the Heavenly Emperor realm. The young man said indifferently. What? Only those at the Heavenly Emperor realm can break it. Everyone's faces were extremely ugly. I can't. Someone shouted and rushed towards the door. However, he was blocked by a light screen halfway. He continued to attack, but the terrifying energy disappeared after it hit the light screen. Since we can't attack the gate, then we'll attack this formation spirit, take him down, and force him to open the gate. Someone shouted. That's right, take down this formation spirit. Attack. Instantly, at least 100 experts rushed into the sky. There were beings from both the evil god tribe and the Heaven realm. Lu Ming did not move. He had a feeling that it would not be that simple. Sure enough, when the 100 experts approached the formation spirit, veined patterns appeared in the sky, and a layer of light covered the formation spirit. Over 100 experts attacked, all kinds of attacks bombarding the formation spirit. However, just like the previous attacks on the door, all the attacks were blocked by the light screen and did not cause any waves. Damn it! Many people roared, but it was useless. No matter how they attacked, they couldn't hit the formation spirit. It's useless. Just give up. Without the cultivation of a celestial emperor, we can't break this formation. It's been countless years since anyone has come in. You can stay here and accompany me in peace, ha ha ha. The young man laughed out loud, extremely excited. Ever since he had gained sentience, it had been countless years since any living being had entered. He had been lonely, so now that someone had entered, he was naturally excited. Are we really going to be trapped here forever? Some people were in despair. Only a celestial the arch could break through it. The entire Void God Island had an unparalleled pressure that prevented the celestial the arch from entering. If the celestial the arch couldn't enter, no one could save them. You don't have to think about other exits. This is the only exit. The formation spirit laughed very happily, as if he found it interesting to see the others in despair. Is there really no way to get out? Someone asked unwillingly. Of course, it's not that there's no other way. Back then, my master, who was also the one who laid down this formation, left a way out. At this time, the formation spirit pondered for a moment, and said. Everyone was ecstatic. What way out? Someone asked excitedly. As long as there was a way out, there would be hope to get out. As long as there was hope, there would be a way out. Everyone's eyes were on the young man, waiting for his answer. Chapter 2354. Let me tell you, Master left 8 array discs here. As long as you find the 8 array discs, you can open this door. The young formation spirit said. 8 formation discs. May I ask where the 8 formation discs are? Someone asked. In these mountains and rivers, in this palace. The young man pointed at the mountains and palaces in front of them and said, there could be formation discs in all of these places, and all 8 of them are in different locations. Alright, well go get these formation discs. Someone said. Even though this place was vast, it shouldn't be difficult to find the 8 array discs. Wait, don't worry, still have one more condition. The formation spirit's gaze turned, and it swept toward the evil god race and the heaven realm's people. You people should be divided into 2 groups. My condition is that only one group of people can go out. In other words, only one group of you can survive and collect the 8 array discs before leaving this place. After saying this, the formation spirit laughed very happily, as if it was looking forward to it. Only one group of people can get out alive. Many people were shocked. Boom! Boom! At this moment, everyone exuded a shocking aura and killing intent as they looked at each other. Just in time, let's kill all these heaven realm beings and get out of here. Someone from the evil god race maliciously spoke. Kill us all? You're the ones who will die. On the side of the heavenly realm, there were also people with cold killing intent. The 2 sides were already at each other's throats, and now, with the formation spirit setting such conditions, the situation could be imagined. Instantly, the smell of gunpowder filled the air. Kill. You're the one who's going to die. The people closest to each other from both sides suddenly started fighting. It was like a fuse that instantly ignited the entire scene. Kill. Kill the evil god race. Kill all these heaven realm bastards. And NBSP, the people from both sides charged at each other and began an intense battle. The scene continued to rumble. In the next moment, someone cried out miserably as he was killed. Lu Ming, Emperor Notionless, Huntian Emperor, and Skyfire Emperor were also engaged in battle with a few members of the evil god tribe. However, Lu Ming did not unleash his full power. He realized that the difference in combat strength between the two sides was not big, so it should not be a life-and-death battle now. Sure enough, after fighting for a while, more than a dozen people from both sides died in battle. The experts from both sides retreated one after another and began to confront each other. The strength of the two sides was about the same. If they continued to fight, they were afraid that both sides would suffer losses, and at that time, no one would be able to leave. The two sides confronted each other, swords drawn and bows bent. In my opinion, let's go look for formation discs first. Also, there must be some opportunities in this place. Well, find the formation discs while looking for opportunities to kill the alien races and weaken their strength. Then, well, annihilate them all. That's right, I think it's feasible too. If we encounter any opportunities, it can also enhance our strength. Then, it will be much easier to kill the alien races. Some people were discussing in secret. In the end, the heavenly realm came to an agreement. However, the evil god tribe seemed to have a similar thought. After a short confrontation, both sides retreated. Let's go. And NBSP in the end, the evil god race members headed to the right and charged towards the mountain and palace. Let's go too. The people from the heaven realm rushed to the right. I hope you guys have a good time. In the sky, the young formation spirit revealed a smile of anticipation, and with a flash, he disappeared. Lu Ming and the group flew for a distance. Wait a moment. Suddenly, someone called out. Everyone stopped and looked at the person who had just spoken. It's him. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. It was the Lan family's 3-star great emperor who had asked everyone to stop. Brother Lan, what's the matter? Someone asked. Among us, there are some who are not qualified to walk with us. The 3-star great emperor from the Lan family, the middle-aged man, said coldly as he looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes flickered, and the faces of Notionless Emperor, Huntian Emperor, and Skyfire Emperor darkened. The rest of the people also looked at Lu Ming and the rest with a look of realization. The feud between Lu Ming and the Lan family was widely known in the heaven realm. Not many people did not know about it. Now, the Lan family was going to make trouble. Lu Ming, you guys should leave. You're not welcome here. The middle-aged man from the Lan family said coldly. At the side, Lan Mo sneered and stared at Lu Ming coldly. The people of the Lan family did not dare to kill Lu Ming openly because there were too many celestial thearchs standing behind him. If word of this got out, the Lan family would not be able to handle it. However, they only asked Lu Ming to leave. In this way, the celestial thearch behind Lu Ming could not say anything. Right now, the heaven realm beings and the evil god race were at war with each other. Lu Ming and the rest had separated from the main group. Once they encountered the evil god tribe, they would definitely not let them off. They would kill them and weaken the strength of the heaven realm. This was the Lan family's plan. Let us leave. There are so many people here. The Lan family doesn't have the final say. Emperor Formless replied. Oh? Is that so? The 3-star great emperor from the Lan family sneered. He then looked at the others and said, everyone, do you want to work with Lu Ming or the Lan family? If you want to work with Lu Ming, then go ahead. The Lan family will not play along. A group of people stood beside the Lan family's 3-star great emperor. There were more than 10 of them. Among these people, there were people from the Lan family's headquarters, and also people like the Yen family who had good relations with the Lan family. Many people's eyes flickered when they heard the words of the middle-aged man from the Lan family. I'm willing to cooperate with the Lan family. I'm naturally willing to cooperate with Brother Lan. Not long after, some people walked towards the Lan family with smiles on their faces. This area was the outer region of the Void God Island, and only low-level Great Emperors were active here. The 4-star Great Emperors and above had already entered the depths of the island to look for better opportunities. This time, the person with the highest cultivation level among those who entered the formation was a 3-star Great Emperor. There were only a few 3-star Great Emperors among them. Each and every one of them was at the peak of their combat strength. Each and every one of them was extremely important in the fight for the arrayed disc and the hunt for the evil god tribe. The evil god tribe also had a few 3-star Great Sovereigns, and without them, they wouldn't be able to fight against the evil god tribe. This 3-star Great Emperor of the Lan family was almost at the peak of the 3-star Great Emperor realm, and his battle prowess was extremely shocking. Cooperate with Lu Ming? What a joke, are you looking for death? Now, they naturally chose to cooperate with the Lan family. In their impression, Lu Ming was merely a true emperor. Although his combat strength was astonishing, he was at most equivalent to a 1-star Great Emperor. He would not affect the overall situation. One by one, the Heaven Realm beings stood beside the Lan family. Lu Ming, Emperor Formless, and the other two were slowly isolated. The middle-aged man from the Lan family, Lan Mo, and the others all smiled. Lu Ming had left the team and was later killed by the evil god tribe. They could not be blamed for this. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.